of time.
O'clock.
Yeah, I guess
That's what it is.
All right, now you got to look at the lighting and the position of the camera and fuck with it.
Okay. Let me see. Oh, that shit's fucking wrong.
See, I knew
That
it.
shit's fucking wrong.
I knew it.
You want it right about at the top of that. See how that's right? You want that right there.
Okay.
That way the mirror is at the upper edge.
Okay.
See that? And then the center of the mirror is in the center of this.
Mm-hmm.
Just dress right dress. That's the way a man does it.
I was like, I didn't move it. I didn't move it from earlier, so it's not my fault this time.
All right. Let's see who's here.
Don't be so silly.
We're going to talk about Michael Jackson today.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good show.
Yeah, Ben said, I hope there'll be a poll on whether people think MJ was guilty or framed by grifters.
Oh, man.
Honestly, you know what? I kind of, like, the more I delved into this kind of stuff, I kind of feel like, why not both? Because I'm not saying, because those two options are not mutually exclusive. Which I want to get into a little bit, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I initially thought, I don't know what I thought about it, like, initially, before I really looked too much into it. I said, well, he's kind of a weirdo and stuff, but yeah, maybe people are just kind of, you know, making it up or, like, trying to get money or something. But then, like, the more I looked into it, I was like, I think maybe he did that shit. But you know what I mean? I'm not sure. I don't know, and he's dead, so he can't.
There's a guy that I've subscribed to on YouTube. He's got a real good channel. Does, like, metal reviews, and he'll do commentary. And for a heavy metal guy, he's a fan of Michael Jackson. He liked Michael Jackson, and he did a whole show on it. He thought that the evidence pointed towards that he was being set up by people in the Hollywood scene that used their kids as bait, and then sue you because they had a couple of them had that history of that. So. Yeah, that was happening. But that doesn't mean that fucking Michael wasn't fucking diddling them boys.
That's what I mean. It's like, yeah, both those things could be true.
Right.
Because I think particularly when we get into the case of Jordan Chandler, who was the first kid, you know, that came out in 1993. Yeah. And even though his dad was allegedly, you know, trying to get money out of Michael, that doesn't mean, that could just mean that he was using the fact that his son had been molested for real to like cash out. You know what I mean? Which I think is probably what happened. That doesn't mean that he made that up.
Right.
That, you know, but that means that when he heard about it, he's like, oh, I can use that to, like, cash in, you know, like cha-ching. So.
Yeah, evidently there's a subculture that was of parasites hanging around the Hollywood scene back in these days. Probably still going on. Who knew who all the pedos were, and would use their kids as bait to entrap them.
Yeah,
and that was and that sounds. I believe that because it was evidently the same families over and over again, the same kids in certain cases. So there are some evil people out there that have children.
Yeah.
That will use their kids to get money.
Well, and I was
in that way.
Well, okay. Let me answer this question because Bryce Versa asked a long time ago.
Yeah.
It said, to be blunt, how do I find your many-vids?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
What is our many-vids called? I think it's either called 13 Cam or it's called Gen Tom Cam.
No, Gen Tom Cam is our stream.
I know, but I don't know if I named it the same thing.
I think I got it.
You probably know what it's called. I can't even remember what it's called. But,
I think I got it here. It's 13 Cam.
Yeah, okay.
I'll show you.
Tammy says you should look into Corey Feldman also. It's, you know what? I saw, like, I was watching some documentaries about this earlier, and Corey Feldman, there was a clip of him saying that when he was at Michael Jackson's apartment, like his house or whatever, when he was, I guess he was 13.
Yeah.
And he said that Michael Jackson showed him this book that he had that was like all naked people, but they had like sexually transmitted diseases.
Yeah.
And he was like showing it to like a 13-year-old kid.
Yeah, speaking of STDs, our fucking mini-vids channel. No, I was kidding. It's actually 13 cam spelled out. It's not the number 13. It's spelled out 13 cam. It's on mini-vids.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
Yeah.
And the videos are about a few months back. They're good. But better stuff's coming. You know, Jen's been in training, and she looks fucking real good lately, man. She was good then. She's even better now. She's gonna be a super cougar in about 2 months. Super cougar.
Brace versa says for research.
She's
for research purposes.
Yeah.
I need to start like uploading more stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. We were streaming, and there's a customer that's just kind of hanging out and thinking, you know, he's asking questions. He goes, "Oh, by the way, I love your other show."
Yeah.
And we're like, "Oh, okay, okay."
Yeah, it was just like, I think it was like a British guy or something.
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're a fan of the show." And he's like, "Yeah, I just had to stop by."
Stop by and talk to us for a little while.
It's just I got to go to work though. It's okay. Well, you know, come back when you're ready.
Yeah.
We'll jerk you off.
I mean, you know.
Fucking funny.
Yeah, it is.
We're not sensitive about that, people.
We're really not.
Don't get bashful. We're not sensitive. We're professionals about it. It's like being part of the carnival.
Yeah.
And we're not studio porn stars. We're not fucking other people. It's just each other. We're just doing shit we'd be doing anyway.
Right, exactly.
So it's more like a peep show. We'll let you see.
Yeah, I think it's kind of more like that.
Yeah.
Than.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, we're not just like pimping ourselves out to like random ass people or anything. Yeah, Ben says blackmail has been a thing as long as the music industry has existed. Yeah, and like I said, I kind of get that people said it's like, oh, well, people are just trying to get money out of him. And I'm not denying that, because I know for sure, at least Evan Chandler, like Jordan Chandler's dad, he seemed, well, they have like a phone, we'll get into this, but they have like a recorded phone call of him like talking to his son's stepdad, because they divorced and she had remarried. And, you know, he's very clearly trying to get, he's like, I hired this lawyer and he's going to like, you know, humiliate Michael Jackson and all this other kind of shit. So he definitely was trying to get a payout. But like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean that the allegations that the kid came forward with weren't true. And honestly, here's the crazy thing. And like I said, I watched a bunch of different stuff about this. And the shit that Michael Jackson was open about was crazy. Like, he would just, like, the kid that I'm talking about, Jordan Chandler, the first kid that came forward, Michael Jackson was at, like, the World Music Awards I think it was in Monaco. And this 13-year-old boy, he, like, made him sit on his lap. Who does that? And, like, and it's weird. And the kid looks kind of, like, uncomfortable, I'm gonna say. Like, I really... Like, who has a 13-year-old boy, like, a grown man has a 13-year-old boy sit on their lap? It's just very strange. And there was some other stuff, too, with that one kid, Gavin, the kid that had cancer. And there's video of Michael Jackson and that kid, and the kid is just, like, is snuggling up again. And he was also, like, 13 or 14. And they're, like, holding hands and stuff. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's almost like, and I kind of want to get into this too, because it does seem like he had like romances with these boys.
Yeah. Look, Razorfist didn't think any of this happened. Okay. He thought it was all blackmail. One of the things that he used to in his defense was that Corey, what was his name? Corey Felding? Is that his name?
Feldman.
For Corey Feldman. Defended Jackson, says Jackson wasn't doing any of that. You gotta understand that some of the kids that defended Jackson said that wasn't going on were sleeping with him. They were his boyfriends.
Yeah.
Okay. And you say, well, how can you be a boyfriend? When you hear the stories about how he would do it, he'd groom him over time. Okay.
Yeah, and he did it in a way that is very indicative.
Yeah.
I watched this really good video. It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And she was talking about, she's like, people have a misperception about pedophiles, or PDF files, as they call them, like
files.
To get around the
censorship
PDF file, which I thought was really funny.
We're gonna call them PDF files. We're gonna call them
because
PDF
that's just funny.
That's a good one. Yeah,
that's just funny.
Yeah, they're not mean.
Well, some of them are, but it's like, but the kind that he probably was, And the fact that he always would say, like, whenever he was on, because they showed like all these different clips of him, you know, on news programs, and people, you know, the people like Diane Sawyer and stuff like that would like ask him straight out, it's like, did you do this? Did you sexually molest these boys and stuff? Yeah. He would always say the same thing: I would never harm a child.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe he's not lying, like, because probably in his mind he doesn't think he's hurting them. Right. And like, if you watch Leaving Neverland, which is two of the guys, it's actually really good. It's on HBO Max, and the two guys that are on that. That say that they were molested, they are kind of fucked up about it because they're like, there was nothing aggressive about it. There wasn't like, he wasn't mean, he wasn't anything like that. And it's like, they were so young that and they were hanging out with a super famous person, and just like having him slowly getting them to do different things, just like, well, this is what people do when they love each other and blah de blah. Like, it was that kind of thing. So it's like, it was a really like slow progression.
They didn't think he was. The boys didn't see it as being hurt. He groomed him. He flipped him slowly. He was a smooth criminal. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Jackson was evidently smooth. Now, you know that I am a great student of male behavior and a professor of male behavior.
Yeah, professor of male behavior. As well as being a boobologist.
And being a boobologist, everything, you know, fucking a doctor of boobology. When you look at Michael Jackson, the superficial appearances of where he lived and his environment is not typically male. Okay? Statues of little white boys everywhere, little Peter Pans and shit, fucking Ferris wheels and crap. And this guy's a 30-year-old fucking mega star. Single. A 30-year-old single mega star with a palace and grounds like that doesn't have fucking statues of little boys and shit. It's got porn stars in it. And fucking jets. And fucking landing pads and fucking nightclubs and on his compound. And, you know, they're going to have adult fucking movie stars over and shit. Big parties. You know. He'd have a harem, basically. But that's not what he had. He had just a little bunch of little boys. And stuff that, if your neighbor had in his front yard, if your neighbor was a 65-year-old fat white dude, and he's got a Ferris wheel in his, and he's got no wife or children or anything, he's got a Ferris wheel in his fucking front yard with the fucking video games, and he's trying to get all the little neighborhood boys to come over and fucking play video games with him, he'd be calling the cops.
And a lot of people have pointed that out. It's like, if a regular dude was doing that shit, absolutely, everybody would be like, stay away from that fucking creeper.
So I'm seeing it just the superficial aspects of where he lived and who he's surrounded, and it was suspicious. But then the other night when I'm hearing this long story from that kid, what was his name? You just mentioned from that program.
Well, no, the ones that were grown up that we're talking on there, were that was what's his name? I'll think of him in a minute.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He was a kid when it happened.
Yeah, but one of them's name is Wade,
right?
And then the other one's name is
a couple of them, right?
James.
Man,
Wade and James.
When you hear their stories, it's like, then all of a sudden it's typical male pattern behavior for Jackson. Jackson's doing typical male behavior in terms of forming a harem, having a hierarchy inside the harem, fucking replacing the old ones and fucking putting in new ones. He's doing what guys do to sex objects or girlfriends, basically.
Well, and that's what kind of struck me about a lot of the clips, and that he wasn't even hiding the clip. Like, he would have, like, they did a documentary when he was hanging out with Gavin, because Gavin and Gavin's family was living there with him at Neverland, and so they did a documentary called Living with Michael Jackson, and it was supposed to like make him look better, I guess, but just the way that he sat with that boy and the way that they're like holding hands and the way they're just like, it just seemed really weird. It seemed more like a boyfriend girlfriend.
Yeah, and he's got and he's got all these kids of various ages surrounding him up on stage, and they're all dressed in Michael Jackson styles and shit like that. It's weird. It's weird. And then they're staying, and he's talking the parents into letting them spend the night for like months.
Well, yeah.
It's not like they spend the night one night. No, they're gonna be over there like for months.
Well, that Wade kid
and move the whole family over to down the road, and then he's paying. We got to get into. We'll get into.
He's buying them houses and shit like that.
Buying them
houses. Like I
houses,
said, that Wade kid
off.
that was on Leaving Neverland. I mean, he was Australian.
Yeah.
Him and his mom and sister moved to the United States.
Yeah.
Like, so that Michael Jackson could help him out. He's like, yeah, you have to come to L.A. and, like, you know what I mean? To come to California and I'll help out your career or whatever.
A rich, powerful PDF file is going to make friends with the family and pay them off, basically. Now, some of the family members are going to be like, well, we didn't realize that was happening. But then, evidently, in Hollywood, there are families that know exactly that's what happens. They're trying to hook their kids up with these PDF files so they can get a free house.
Well, so they can have, and especially because a lot of the boys that he, interfered with, if you want to call it that, were in the entertainment industry. They were actors or dancers or something like that. So they had, like, their parents had a vested interest, too, in facilitating a relationship because Michael Jackson could help their kid out, with a career, you know what I mean? And the families were getting shit too. They were getting flown all over the world, and they got to go on tour with him. And one of them, like one family, he bought him a house and all this other kind of shit.
And what's funny is that he gets rid of them, and they're all good-looking kids, but he gets rid of them as soon as they're old enough to really kind of like start to attract the interest of just like a regular gay dude. As soon as they get that old, he's got to get rid of them.
Yeah,
that's the pattern.
Like I said, I was watching a thing about different kinds of PDF files, or like what kind he was specifically, and because Ben said, I think he was just very immature and thought of himself as a young boy. That is the case.
A lot of PDF files are like that.
Well, that's what I mean, and that's kind of what, like, because this woman was going through, like I said, it was like an hour and a half long video, and she went through like all these different like law enforcement books for like profiling like PDF files and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things, because I think that was something that a lot of like his fans would use to like excuse it. It's like, oh well, it's just like being with another kid, but it's like, yeah, but that's a red flag of that's what PDF files do.
Yeah, certain brands of
certain kinds of them, because there's a couple different like kinds, but one kind in particular, and there was a big long thing about it, like in these books and stuff like that, where it's just kind of like they can't relate to adults at all. They feel like they're young. They want to hang out with children and relate to children on their own level, and do kid stuff. Like they don't want to grow up. That's very, very common, and that's like exactly what he was like. You know what I mean? So that was like really enlightening, like watching that.
Yeah, and like I said, and as soon as they start getting old enough to be interesting to mainstream gays, he loses all interest. And it's weird. And then he asked them, and then all of a sudden. He had a weird thing where the dudes would, once they got to that age, once they got older, they were dating girls, and he wanted to know all about the girls too. Michael did.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was jealous though. I think he was curious.
Maybe.
I don't think he was jealous. I think he liked straight boys.
Yeah.
That's what he liked. I think he saw himself as straight. It's weird, man. I don't know how.
I don't think he was, though.
No, I don't think he was. But I think Michael Jackson saw himself as straight.
He seemed terrified of women. I heard one, and this was from his own mouth. Like, this was from an interview. When he was in his 20s, I think he was 23, 24, something like that. I think he kind of briefly, quote-unquote, dated Tatum O'Neal, who I think was 19 at the time.
I remember that.
And she was, like, wanting to jump on the dick, right? Like, she's a 19-year-old girl.
Yeah.
So she goes over his house, and she starts, like, unbuttoning his shirt or something, and he, like, freaked out. He, like, put his hands over his face like that. Yeah. And that's from him. He said that.
Yeah.
And she left. She was like, okay.
Yeah, well, he's childish.
Right.
I think he saw himself as a straight child.
Yeah.
And he's fooling around with little boys.
I mean, why do you think the ranch is called Neverland and there's like Peter Pan shit everywhere? And he said on multiple occasions that that was like his. He didn't say it was his spirit animal, but like he wanted to be like Peter Pan, like young forever.
I saw his little train, and he got a train station and shit and everything. And when you disembark from the fucking train, you go down these stairs, and on either side of the stair, or on one side of the stairs, there's this beautiful bronze statue of like a Peter Pan drinking out of the water. I think drinking off the edge of a rock. It looked like a damn white rock, fucking logo off the soda. And that statue was thousands and thousands of dollars. And shit like that was everywhere. But you're looking at that and you go like, what's a black dude got that? 30-year-old black dude got that for? You know? Why isn't that some big fine fucking sister up there like a stallion, big old booty? You know what I mean? That's what really should be there. And then he's modifying his face really to look like a little white boy. He looks like a little white boy.
Yeah, that whole situation was like really weird too.
He was transracial.
And and I don't know if this is true or not, because a lot of the stuff is just kind of, hearsay or just like somebody saying some shit. But according to a couple of people who worked for him, they said that Michael Jackson absolutely did not like black people at all.
It doesn't surprise me. I believe he was transracial.
And he would even and he would say like real shitty stuff about them.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
So I don't know if that's true.
I don't think he liked his family too much either.
Well, yeah, they were kind of estranged a little bit. I mean, I can't blame him in that regard because his father especially was like real abusive. And he really wasn't shy about talking about that. Like, and especially like when they were kids and they were doing the Jackson 5 and everything, like he would just like beat the crap out of them like if they messed up.
Yeah.
And shit
Jackson
like
be
that.
like, it's because I love children and I'm doing this for the children. And then you look at him up there, you look at him and he's up there on stage with these children, right? But there's no girls. There's no little girls.
Yeah.
And there's no black boys. It's all these little white boys.
Yeah, like the only black boy...
The only children... Yeah, he probably had some tokens up there. To kind of get
Emmanuel Lewis. Remember little Emmanuel Lewis from Webster?
Yeah, okay, from Webster. Remember that kid. Yeah, there was no black boys up there. So when he thinks of children, he's thinking of little white boys.
Little white children.
Yeah, little white boys. Yeah. Not girls, little white boys.
Yeah, because it's not...
No girls up there.
And another claim that one of his... who I think used to be his personal assistant, and this is all alleged, I don't know if any of this is true or not, but she said... part of her job was to go through like all the letters and stuff that people like fans had sent him, and she said that he would go through there and didn't even if the letters if you could tell it was from like a girl or like a black kid or something like that, like he didn't even bother
just throw that shit
reading
away.
them. They just threw them. He just threw them away. He only wanted the whites and the Asians and the Latinos.
Yeah.
Apparently, allegedly. I don't know if that's true, but that's what
it would fit.
That's what she said.
It would fit, yeah.
So I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, based on my psychoanalysis of him.
And the skin whitening thing, a lot of people have said, and they said that he had vitiligo, which maybe, I don't know, maybe. No. But the thing about it, there are some pictures of him before he went full white man.
Yeah.
Where he had his shirt off. And he doesn't look like he has vitiligo. Now, I know that you can get that. Like, he doesn't look patchy. He looks normal. So, you can develop that later. So maybe he did. And because I think his family said that he had it, but I think that he started lightening his skin to even it all out. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't buy it.
I don't know.
I don't buy it. I believe that he was just a normal black guy. In terms of just physical.
And he was also, he used to say too that like his dad used to make fun of like how wide his nose was and like how he looked, like because he was real cute when he was a kid, and then when he got a little bit older, like as a teenager, like his dad started talking about like how ugly he was, like he didn't look right anymore and shit like that.
He didn't.
I know, and that's what I mean. But he was apparently really fucked up about it. So it's like clearly. So I think maybe that fed into him not wanting to look like himself anymore. And then he ended up just... And you can't really believe everything he says because according to him, he only had 3 plastic surgeries on his face.
You can't believe anything Michael Jackson says.
Like he said that he had 2 nose jobs and like a thing to put a cleft in his chin.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was like, it looks like more than that to me.
Yeah, he had a lot of stuff done.
I'm just saying.
Eventually, they did that nose too many times. And
you can't put it back when you take too much off.
They told him that he shouldn't do it again, but he kept cutting it off, cutting pieces of it off.
Yeah, weird.
I don't know the truth of it, but I heard that they had to implant some wires inside there
to keep it from collapsing.
To keep it from collapsing.
I don't know if that's the case or not, but yeah, I mean,
a wire endoskeleton,
right,
to hold it in place.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tammy said just because he didn't touch every boy doesn't mean he didn't touch any boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing, too, is that I know that A lot of people will
yeah.
come out and say, like, Macaulay Culkin, for example, like, who he hung out with a lot. Macaulay Culkin is very vocal about, like, defending him and saying, like, no, nothing ever happened. But, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, I obviously I wasn't there, so it's like, I don't know if anything happened to Macaulay Culkin and he just doesn't want to deal with it, or if really nothing happened to him. Because I will say that the two guys that were in Leaving Neverland, they, too, denied... Like, because they got called as witnesses in the 1993 trial, like the Jordan Chandler one. And they got called as witnesses because they'd spent a lot of time with Michael Jackson. And they denied it at the time, too. And really, they only came out in, like, 2019 and said what happened. And they had, you know, people can say, oh, why are you saying it now and blah-de-blah. But it's just kind of like, I don't know. I thought they had, like, pretty decent justifications. And they both seem kind of... They both seem really, really kind of mentally messed up because of it. I mean, they didn't even tell their wives. They didn't, you know, until later. They just denied it. And then finally, it was fucking them up so bad mentally that they finally just admitted it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Allison's asked me if I'm okay. I don't know what she's talking about. That was a long time ago. I don't know what she's referring to.
Zach says, I'm still just so amused that maybe the world's most famous singer ever came from dull as fucking dishwater, Indiana, of all goddamn places. Yeah, Gary, Indiana. That's where he's from. Which is crazy. Yeah. I always forgot that he was a Jehovah's Witness, too. You know? Yeah. And apparently he stayed a Jehovah's Witness his whole life, even though I think they gave him crap, like, for the Thriller video, because that wasn't kosher with them, I guess, like, when that came out in 1984. But I don't think he ever renounced that faith, so I don't know. That's another thing that's kind of weird about it. But he didn't really get up in anyone's face about it, I guess. But... Man, those cats are making so much noise out there.
They're chasing each other around.
Yeah. Yeah, Allison said, my nose is crooked, but I'm not getting surgery. Yeah.
Oh, she's referring to Smooth Criminal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what he was talking about. I think that's what he was talking about.
Maybe so.
He was a smooth criminal. You've been struck by a smooth criminal. That's a great song, actually.
It is a good song. Yeah, and no one's saying that he's not, like, a brilliant singer and a brilliant dancer and everything like that, obviously. But like I said, it can be both things. He can also have been... And I legitimately, like I said, I don't know... Because whenever he was asked point blank, because I saw, like, a bunch of different clips of interviews where different, you know, news people... asked him point blank, like, if the allegations were true, like, did you molest children? And he always says the same thing. He always says, I would never harm a child. That's how he answers it. Yeah. And I said, and I think that he really thinks that he's not hurting them.
Yeah, well, I heard the testimony. Testimony's not evidence, but I heard the testimony from the boy, both those boys, but... Yeah. And those people don't understand, they're ignorant. You know, yeah. If they find out, we're going to both go to jail. You don't want to see me go to jail. He's one of those kind of guys. You know I love you, that kind of shit. He was not one of these kind of guys who's going to fucking strong arm some kid or terrorize him. He wasn't like that. He'd try to win him over. Yeah. And he was in love with him, I believe.
Yeah, it did seem like that. Yeah.
But there was limits to that. It had to be within a certain framework. You got too old, he got rid of you. And he was a two-timer, too. Yeah. Wasn't just one kid. They were saying that, he'd go upstairs with him, and he'd come back an hour later, and he'd go up with another one. And he goes, and I knew that was my time to go up there. It was that kind of.
Well, that's what was kind of fucked up about these two kids, because they were saying, they were competing against each other. Young. Yeah. And they were just, and this, like I said, it's Michael Jackson. He's one of the most famous people in the world. And it's like, and he's paying attention to you, and he's like hanging out with you, and like, you feel like you're the center of his universe and all this other kind of stuff. And they're like, and it's fucked up, but it's kind of awesome. So it's like, when he goes and spends time with another kid, even though he's probably like molesting them too, that's what you're doing. Like, God damn it. You know what I mean? Like, they get jealous. Yeah. And he's like, and and now that they're adults, they're like, I just can't process how fucked up that is. Yeah. But
that dude, he explicitly said that. He said, I knew what they were doing up there. Yeah. He was getting jealous and shit.
Yeah, because he's like, that was, that's what we did, and that was supposed to be super special.
That's my time. That
kind of shit. So it's just kind of like that. Yeah, the shit they described was, See, that's the thing. They never did. Let's, if we're gonna get graphic about it, I don't think he ever like did like anal.
He tried.
Now he did try.
Yeah.
With one of the like when he was. He said that was the last time that he saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Wade.
Yeah.
And he said that the last time he was supposed to see him, and at this point he was 15, maybe something like that. And he said he did try to did he say that he tried to stick his penis in his butt or his finger?
I think he said no. I think no, it was his dick. I think.
And then
it was both. I think.
But then he said it was too painful, so he stopped doing it.
Yeah.
But it seemed like mostly what they would do was like mutual masturbation.
Yeah, and
oral.
Making out.
Yeah, like making out, like oh, let me kiss it and all
Going
that
in
other kind of stuff.
Tub.
Yeah, or like rubbing their bodies together, like that. Like that's what a lot of them describe.
Zach getting jealous. And Zach hears me talk about fucking hot tubs and fucking rubbing and fucking shampoo bottles and fucking bubble bath and shit. Fucking Gavin Friday playing Angel in the back. Me and Zach in the fucking top of the damn Sands Hotel down in fucking spinning. That's right. The whole hotel, the whole hotel pit house is just spinning. He's getting jealous.
Yeah,
You're getting jealous. It's gonna be all right, Zach. Don't tell your man.
Zach says,
Jen's gonna be there to videotape it. We're gonna put that shit up on MiniFits.
He said, didn't Michael Jackson and Farrah Fawcett die on the same day or something? I vaguely remember that happening when I was.
Really?
I don't remember that. I don't remember if that happened or not. He died in 2009. What was the date? May or June?
I thought Farrah had died before that.
I thought so too, but I can't really remember. It was really weird because when I was watching all this stuff about Michael Jackson, it's just kind of like, I thought he died more recently than 2009. Because when I heard it was like, God, it was 2009? That was a long fucking time ago. I didn't realize it was that long ago. Man, time flies when you're getting old.
Leave what Zach said.
Yeah, Tom, we can go in the hot tub at the bathhouse and create a new super STD along with the other ones. Oh my god.
Yeah, we'll name it after you. It's called Zachitis. Zach immunodeficiency.
Zach immunodeficiency. Zid.
Yeah, Zid.
Oh my god. But yeah, so I don't fucking know. But yeah, so that's the thing. So, all right, now. There are a lot. Obviously, I don't know if like these kids today, if they remember all the crazy fucking story, even before all the molestation shit came out, which was in 1993. There was a lot of crazy stories about Michael Jackson before that. Remember when he supposedly like tried to buy the bones of the Elephant Man, like from the museum or whatever, and they were like, "No, you can't have those." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a museum. It's not like a store.
He probably wouldn't have paid for them anyway. I heard he bought stuff and returned it a lot. Never paid for
really?
it.
Really? I never heard that.
So he'd go on shopping sprees and he'd buy everything, and then when it came time for him to pay, they never would pay, and so he'd never even pick it up. He just liked to buy things and he didn't need them.
And that's another thing that he would do with like the kids. And like I said, it wasn't just the kids; it was their whole families. Like he almost like seduced their whole families, which is a very common PDF file thing. You're establishing trust. And I didn't realize the extent to which he did that, until I watched Leaving Neverland and like started reading about it. I'm like, holy crap. So it's crazy. So he would take these people, like I said, he would take them on tour with him. He's like, oh, we're going to go to the World Music Awards, or we're going to go to Paris, we're going to go to Berlin, we're going to go everywhere. And then he would take the whole family, mostly the boys, but like, and the moms too. Like he would really try to like get in good with the moms. And he would take them to a store and be like, just fill up a cart, buy whatever you want. Like he'd take him to a toy store or some shit like that. So he was really good at, and I'm sure that he would probably frame it as what I'm being nice to them, I'm being generous and stuff like that, which I guess you are to a fault, but you're also
bribing the family.
You're bribing them is what you're doing. I don't really know if he was self-aware enough to know that that's what he was doing.
He was.
But that's what he was doing.
I think he figured, they probably know what's going on, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it worth their while.
Yeah, maybe.
That's probably what he was thinking.
So, I don't know.
So they won't ask me any questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I
don't want to get in trouble.
If you give him enough stuff, it's like, shit, if you're hanging out with somebody that's got, like, all the money, and they just buy you shit and take you on trips and everything like that, you're gonna overlook a lot of shit. I think
you can flip it around.
I think most people would.
You can flip it around. You can have your lawyers run at him and says, "Wait a minute, you're accepting all this money and offering up your child. Isn't that prostitution?" Yeah,
right.
They can do that.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So
that's another thing.
Wow.
And I'm gonna say that when we were watching Leaving Neverland, the mom, like Wade's mom, her name is Joy. I kind of think she probably knew what was going, or suspected what was going on. She kind of denied knowing what was going on, but I think there is a reason that the rest of her family, they wouldn't talk to her for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I think she kind of knew what was going, or suspected what was going on, and she just didn't want to, she didn't want to jump off the gravy train, allegedly.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So I think Jackson that might have been the case, because, like I said, if Michael Jackson wasn't famous and didn't have millions and billions of dollars, would you, like, I don't have any kids, but if you had a kid, everybody I know that had a kid is like, no fucking way would I let my kid sleep in the same bed as a grown-ass man who I barely know.
For like a month.
Why would you do that?
And he started with that kind of shit with them at, what, 6, 7?
Yeah, I think Wade was five when he first met him, but I don't think the alleged abuse started until he was 7.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was kind of into him from like about age 7, 8, 9 until they were about 14. So like right after they went through puberty or started to become looking like a teenager.
Yeah,
then he seemed like he kind of replaced it. Yeah, Bryce Versa said that documentary was uncomfortable.
Yeah, you saw it.
The way he said little one. Yeah, and he had like little nicknames for all of them. And it's like the one guy, I think it was James, like he had, Michael Jackson had like sent him all these faxes. Like they both had all these faxes, and they would like talk to them he would talk to them on the phone for like 6, 7 hours. Like he would call every single day.
Yeah, what are you going to talk to a kid for 7 hours for?
That's what I mean. It's just like, it's...
Where are the women? Where are the women?
Or where are the grown men?
Yeah,
because I think he was probably gay, but like where are the people his own age?
Yeah.
Like why isn't he going out with people his own age? It just seems like...
I don't think he saw himself as gay.
I think he didn't want to see himself as gay.
I think he saw himself as a child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that he's fooling around with other little boys.
And it's also innocent.
And we don't really have gender. You know.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I think it's kind of...
I mean, he certainly had some really weird...
Well, when you see his act and listen to his songs, he didn't write those songs. You know, he has writers writing a lot of that shit. And his portrayal of sexuality is very much kind of cartoonish. You know, I don't think he knew much about heterosexuality. You know what I mean? These fucking love songs about women and his dancing and shit. It looked cool. But he was just making a product, you know. Yeah. For normies.
Well, and it worked. It made him all the money.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, like when...
I gotta say, though, I think the reason why he was such a success is because in the early 80s, or maybe in the mid-80s, I don't remember when I first saw him, he was one of the first stars that really... jumped on music videos. Yeah. He made music videos that just were much, much better than everybody else's. The first one I remember was Billie Jean. Yeah. Nobody had a video that was like that. He's walking and the fucking ground's lighting up as he's going. What year was that?
That was 82, I think. Yeah. And that was the debut of the moonwalk also. Yeah.
When that video appeared on MTV, it just dominated fucking MTV, because that was the best video that made up to that time. High budget. Most music videos are just like you could shoot one in this room, right? You know, they didn't. Or it was like Blondie. Blondie's videos were just them in fucking abandoned buildings and stuff, wearing trash bags and crap. Deborah was wearing a trash bag, but I mean they were cool, but they weren't expensive. Yeah. Fucking Jackson had expensive videos. Well, that was a brand new medium. And those videos caused a fuck ton of attention and record sales. And he was quality show. So when he went on tour, he just killed it. You know, and he was doing that in the early 80s. Yeah. The only other thing that would have been kind of like that would have been Kiss. But Kiss didn't have music videos.
No.
They had just a good show. It was like something you said out of Vegas, you know?
Right.
Kiss fucking had sucky albums, and they fucking... man, you buy an album, there might be one good song on it.
Yeah, well.
But that album looked cool as fuck. And fucking Gene Simmons would sell you a lunchbox. You could have a lunchbox, a belt buckle. It was more about the merchandise and the way they looked. And the shows were big, fire and
the
spit
music
blood.
Was just like
secondary.
Music was
nah, it was okay. You know? But Jackson had it all. He had the huge show, fucking pro dancers and stuff, and music videos, and the quality of the writing of the songs was good. Execution was real good. When he appeared, he was fucking he dominated. And that really, I think, helped him have some staying power over the years because he built so many fans in the early part of his career. But, look, let's be honest. The Bad album was pretty good. I liked it. When it came out, I thought it was his best album at that date. I didn't buy it, but I think I borrowed it. Or somebody gave me a recording of it, on tape. I would never buy a Michael Jackson record. Back in the day. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? I was into metal. But for pop music, that was good. Yeah. Real good. But as time went on, he kind of wasn't as great as he was, musically wise. And he wasn't as innovative. He wasn't a great innovator, really. He was more kind of following the trends. If you're talking about creativity, though, the other and just music quality and show for African American performance, Prince was better.
Well, yeah,
much better.
Well, like you said, Prince was a lot more innovative.
Yeah, and I think he was a lot more musically talented.
Yeah,
and he didn't have this kind of problem holding him down. Prince was a man, you know. He's a little guy, but he was about women and
real snappy dresser too.
Yeah, and he had that fucking.
He was a pussy magnet.
Yes, and today you call him kind of like gender non-binary, kind of. But back in those days, it was just we called it being new wave.
Yeah.
But we didn't really have a word for it. He was just this sexy little motherfucker that was kind of gender bending, and the girls loved him. Mm-hmm. I think he's 5'3", wearing them big old high heels.
Something like that.
I think he's 5'3".
Yeah, I think he's my height.
Huge heels and shit, and fucking, you know, and could sing. I would give it to Prince.
Yeah.
Over Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson just had a really good show.
Yeah.
And music videos were real good.
Yeah.
But when Prince came out with his music videos, they were fucking great too. The Purple Rain video, Raspberry Beret video, fucking all that shit was good.
Yeah, High Desert said Duran Duran had great videos too. Yeah, I was gonna say between Michael Jackson and Duran Duran, I think that's kind of what carried MTV through the early years. Because, well, you know, just like Michael Jackson, like Duran Duran spent some fucking money on their fucking videos. Let's go to Sri Lanka and film like some videos like on a yacht and shit like that. You know, very lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Yeah, but that kind of weird gender bending, light skinned, kind of African American looking thing. You know, Prince and Michael Jackson on the surface level would seem real similar. But in terms of artistic quality, nah, man, I'm going to give it to fucking Prince.
Yeah,
there's more substance to him.
Yeah, and OK Boomer Lady makes a good point. Michael Jackson owed a lot to Quincy Jones. Yeah, because that was his producer on all of his good albums. And I think like his albums weren't as good when he didn't work with Quincy Jones anymore. So I think, I think it was mostly the fact that, he could sing and he could dance and he was really charismatic. And, you know, but like I said, a lot of it might have been the producers and good songs, like the
buying
other people
good songs,
and
buying
stuff
good
like
songs
that.
off good songwriters and stuff. Although that's okay. That was standard procedure. Fucking Duran Duran bought a lot of songs, and they had a lot of help.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, they just did that. Yeah,
and producers producers are always like
right. You can get the original like demos of things like Duran Duran songs like "View to a Kill" and fucking just other famous songs, and they didn't originally, the demos didn't sound anything like the song that ended up on the record, because they worked on them and they would hire other dudes to come in and rewrite shit for them. Because you had to. They were a multi-billion-dollar fucking industry, man. It was back when bands fucking were powerhouses when it came to money. Because it was just records and radio play. There was no Spotify or internet. You had to, if you wanted to hear that song, you had to fucking either fucking buy the album, the tape, or have somebody record the album for you on a tape.
Yeah.
And if you liked it, you probably would go see them fucking live when the tour came. They were going to make money off you. And they made good money. Records were expensive. They were $20 back then.
Yeah.
Or, you know, a good album. It was about $20 back in the 80s. That was just fucking expensive.
Which is a lot of money.
Yeah, it was a lot of money back then.
I had to like ask for them for Christmas and
Yeah.
shit. Or like save up.
Yeah.
Like birthday money if I wanted one record, you know.
Yeah.
It was kind of
With taxes, fucking, you could only buy 4 of them, and then you'd make $100.
Right. Okay, Boomer Lady says Prince was also a Jehovah's Witness, which is
he wasn't practicing, I'm sure.
well, yeah, that's pretty weird. It's like, I don't know. Like I said, you didn't really hear that. I kept forgetting about that Michael Jackson being one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Neverland Ranch. He built that. Well, he actually bought the property for it in 1988. And, you know, famously, I think he owned it. Well, he still owned it when he died. But after all of the police raids where they kind of went through it and everything, like looking for shit, he didn't ever go back there after that because I guess he thought that it had been despoiled.
It was soiled.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean?
They took pictures of my penis.
Yeah, that was, because I think somebody asked earlier, didn't they take pictures? Well, yeah, because some of the kids that alleged that he had molested them, like, had descriptions of what his penis looked like.
Yeah.
So, of course, they had to, like, put him in a room and take pictures of him.
Yeah, it's funny. He's telling... He's doing a press release. They took pictures of my penis, my buttocks. It's fucking funny.
Yeah, it is.
He looked mortified, but I don't know why he fucking came out with that. Well, I guess he thought he was just trying to fight it. He was just trying to fight.
Yeah, and I think that he was. And they kind of went into this in the video I was watching earlier about PDF files and about how a lot of them react when they are accused of it. Yeah. And they said a lot of times what they'll do is that they'll get like super outraged and they'll like play the victim.
Yeah.
Like to make you feel bad for them. Like this is all kind of everyone's just out to get me and all this other kind of stuff. Which, like I said, I'm not saying that some people weren't out to get him or just weren't out to like get his money, because I'm sure they were. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily
at the same time.
That doesn't necessarily mean that he wasn't like molesting kids. Yeah. You know what I mean? Both of those things could be
allegedly.
True. Allegedly.
Yeah.
You know.
Ben said, the testimony's there though, and it just fits.
See, that's another thing. See, Ben says, did Michael Jackson drink alcohol? Yes. Like, so according to everybody, like he used to drink. He had a wine cellar, I think. Yeah. And he used to drink wine all the time. And that was kind of one of the things. That was one of the charges. I think it was from the 2005 trial that that he was actually putting wine in soda cans and giving it to the little boys so that like their parents wouldn't know that they were drinking. Yeah. Like, I don't know if that's true or not, but that was one of the charges, that he was like kind of getting them drunk. You know what I mean? And I think too that
drinks. But the kids must have known. They must have known that it had.
Well, yeah. He wasn't trying to fool the kids.
He was trying to fool the parents. Yeah.
He was just trying to fool the parents. Like, what?
It's just our little secret.
It's just and he's just like putting wine in there.
We're gonna have fun. Come on.
Yeah,
boys.
Allison said Jesus juice. He called it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. It sounds about Jesus juice.
Yeah, that's what he called it. He drank his alcohol from a sippy cup.
Yeah.
With crazy straws.
Yeah. Fucking funny.
I can actually picture that. But yeah. So, okay, so let's talk about like the first kid, like this first allegation. This is when all the shit first started coming out. Because like I said, during the 80s, dude was super famous. I mean, he was one of the most famous, and still is like one of the most famous musicians that has ever lived. You know what I mean? So, in 1993, here's what happened. It was early 1993. It was like February. And Michael Jackson's car broke down and got towed to a garage, as you would, called Rent-A-Wreck. Now, the owner of the Rent-A-Wreck, whose name was David Schwartz, called his wife up, her name was June, and said, oh my God, Michael Jackson just came to my garage because his car broke down. You got to come down here and meet him. And so she brought her son, like from a previous marriage, whose name was Jordan Chandler. Now, Jordan's dad, whose name was Evan Chandler, was a dentist and he was like kind of like dentist to the stars, like he did a lot of celebrities and stuff. And he's also a screenwriter. If you remember that movie, the Mel Brooks movie, Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Yeah.
Like he wrote the screenplay for that. So, because you can't just be a dentist in Hollywood, you also have to be a screenwriter too, apparently. So, so Michael Jackson meets this Jordan kid and apparently becomes quite enamored with him. And this is something that's very common. And like I said, if you watch Leaving Neverland, this is kind of the same thing that happened with those two kids in there. What he would do, he would befriend the boy, and then he would like pretty much ingratiate himself like into their entire family. Like he would either invite the whole family to Neverland where they would stay for like all weekend, or they would stay like for a few weeks at a time or whatever, or he would go and stay at their houses, which I thought was very weird because a lot of them were just regular ass like middle class suburban families, and he would just go and stay at their house. Like he would go have dinner with them,
yeah,
and he would just kind of like, he's like the most famous pop star in the world, and he's just like, I'm just gonna hang out with these fucking nobodies, which, you know what I mean, which is, you know, not nobodies, but just like regular ass people. It's just like a weird thing for a celebrity to be doing, is what I'm saying.
The thing is, though, Michael Jackson in a way was a regular ass person though too.
I guess
because he didn't really, I don't think he had much contact with other celebrities. He was just he was very much in his own little world.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Surrounded by a bunch of people who were yes men that worked for him and PR people, and he was shielded by a fucking entourage, but he wasn't a normal person.
Yeah,
he didn't live like a normal person, but he was still that kid struggling with his family, you know what I mean, trying to make it big. The only difference is he had money.
Yeah,
he was free of them now. He had a palace and he had money.
Yeah, and I guess, and I do feel bad, like I said,
didn't mature
because,
much, you know.
Right. Well, and you know, I do feel bad that he apparently had like an abusive childhood. He didn't really have a childhood. I mean, he was working from the time he was what, 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
And so he didn't really get to have a normal life. So I get it. Like I get why he spent his entire adulthood seemingly trying to recapture a childhood that he felt was denied to him, I suppose.
Something went down in that childhood. He got fixated sexually at a certain
and that's pretty common too. Yeah. Like all that stuff that I was watching about PDF files, they said that is a very common thing to happen for like the person to like stop maturing at a certain age. So it's like they get older and older, but they still want to hang out with 10-year-olds or whatever, even though they're like 25 now. Yeah, because that's the level that they're at, and that's kind of like. There was a phrase for it, but I can't remember what it was. But
like yeah, arrested development.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. So I kind of feel like that's what his situation was.
And then he tells the kids, oh, don't talk to them. They're ignorant. They don't understand.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he would say.
And a lot of, he seemed very, like I said, and I don't know if he was self-aware enough to know that he was, because some people are just straight up predators, and they're doing this shit, like, with full awareness of how they're manipulating people and stuff. I don't know if he was aware if that's what he was doing, or if he was, I think he was able to justify it to himself. Yeah. Because like I said, I don't think that he thought, because he had absolutely no problem at all telling people just openly on many occasions that he slept in bed with children. Yeah. Like, and multiple, like, interviewers were like, well, don't you think that's inappropriate? Or, isn't that weird? No, you're ignorant. Yeah, like, it's ignorant. Beautiful.
Yeah.
He's like,
we're just hanging out and having
sharing
fun.
Somebody's bed is, like, the best, is the most loving thing you can do. Like, shit like that. He would say stuff like that. And the fact that he wasn't even hiding it and, like, just trying to make everybody else just has dirty minds. Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't think that's the case. I think it's weird. I think it's weird behavior, and 99.999% of people in the world also think it's weird behavior.
But he didn't.
He didn't.
Because he wasn't a normal person. And he was being shielded by a bunch of PR people and fucking handlers and stuff. And I don't think he knew how normal people thought. Yeah. And it probably wouldn't have mattered because he just said, well, they're ignorant. So it doesn't matter what they do. Yeah. And he saw himself as a good guy, and that he loved these dudes and these little kids, and these kids loved him, and he thought it was okay because they were at his level, or he believed that they were kind of like at his level in some weird way.
Yeah, I really do think that he didn't think he was hurting them.
No.
Like, he would not have thought it was abuse. He would not have thought, even though he was absolutely manipulating them into
By the
doing
witness's testimony, they said that they didn't think they were being hurt either until they got older.
And then they realized what was going on.
Right.
Well, because they were so...
They said it happened... One dude said that he realized that he had fucking been fucked over when he had kids. And he was like thinking, this is about the age I was hanging out with Michael Jackson. He goes, that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And they're like, I would never let my kid hang out with somebody like that. And he realized, wait a minute, that was me.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like really a telling moment that he said, he's like, he kind of knew it was abuse like later, like when he got older, but he's like, it really hit home for him when he had kids.
Yeah.
And he realized, like, and he's like, especially when my son got to the same age as I was when I was hanging out, and he's just like, man, if somebody came to me now and said, hey, I'm going to take your kid and like sleep with them in the same, he's like, I'd knock him the fuck out.
You're at a huge disadvantage at 7 versus an adult.
Well, yeah.
Mentally, you're a huge disadvantage. It's fucking night and day. I mean, shit. I can remember being 18 and 19 and not being able to grasp things that people in their 30s could easily grasp. I'd reject it. No, that can't be. Oh yeah, that's the way it really is.
Yeah.
You know, fucking. I didn't really feel like I understood the game. I thought I understood the game at about 25, but then when I hit 30, I realized I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about at 25. I don't think I really became who I am until about 30. After the fucking service and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. About, no, late 20s maybe. 27 probably.
Yeah.
Around that time. The male brain doesn't develop at the same speed as the female brain. This is fucking a given. I've seen that. I've seen the data on it. It's certain parts of the brain mature faster than the others in males. In females, it's a lot of frontal lobe development. Just put a 16-year-old boy next to a 16-year-old girl. That girl will fucking outperform him mentally. With people. Yeah.
Well, because a 16-year-old boy, his entire brain is just boobs.
Yeah.
Or dick.
Pretty primitive.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, you know, not entirely, I guess, but yeah, they're talking about his kids. Yeah, actually, Michael Jackson had 3 kids with Debbie Rowe, his second wife. Now,
it's alleged
he didn't father them.
Right, they're not his kids.
They're not his kids. He had a sperm donor, which is really weird because I saw an interview with the guy who was the sperm donor, I think, on one of the kids. He's kind of famous. Like, I'd seen him before, but I can't think of what his name is. And he was on there, and I think Matt Lauer was interviewing him. And he said, well, if he'd wanted kids and he couldn't perform sexually because that's what they were assuming, like with a woman, they're like, well, couldn't he just like jerk off into a cup? And
artificial insemination.
Right. So it's like, why did he need another dude's sperm?
He wanted kids that he could have.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure. Like there has been some speculation that he wanted white kids.
Yeah. Well,
and he was afraid that if he gave his sperm, then they would turn out black, and he wouldn't be happy about it.
Of course.
So I don't know if that's true or not, but that is one speculation. It's why he didn't use his own semen.
Well, he wanted to be white. He wanted his kids to be white.
Right.
Yeah.
So the kids are not biologically related to him.
No, they're Scandinavian as fuck. Last time I saw them,
related.
Look like blonde hair, blue eyed, ice blue eyes and shit. They're designer babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the weird thing about that too, like Debbie Rowe, she was like the assistant of his somebody that worked for him.
Yeah.
Like his lawyer. No, I don't know. I have it in my notes somewhere, but somebody that worked for him, like she was their assistant or something. And that's how they hooked up. But they were married for 3 years, but it's just like, I don't think they ever had sex. I don't think he ever had sex with Lisa Marie either. Because he married her like right after, like it was not quite a year after the first sexual abuse allegations came out, and she had only been divorced from her husband for like 3 weeks when she married him.
Lisa Marie was real vague about what happened with that marriage. All she did was basically, I remember she was on the Howard Stern show as a guest one time, and Howard Stern had asked, this is back when Howard Stern was relevant, all right, fucking, And she just went, "Oh, that motherfucker!" Basically, so she's. I don't want to talk about that. I think she might have been under a kind of like a gag order. Maybe there's probably some kind of a legal thing that she fucking signed with him.
Yeah, like a non-disclosure agreement or something.
Agreement because she couldn't talk about him.
Yeah,
she didn't want. She refused to talk about him. So I was thinking, man, he must have had her legally wrapped up. I think he just hired her to help him get out of those allegations in exchange for helping her music career.
Yeah.
He probably said, "Oh, I'll get right behind your music career. You'll be famous."
Yeah.
Yeah, pipe dream. Lisa Marie would never be famous for music.
Well, and I did see like a clip of an interview with her where she was saying that she implied that that Michael Jackson knew Debbie Rowe, who would become his second wife later on, a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Lisa Marie said that Michael Jackson allegedly said to her that it's like, oh, if you don't marry me, then I'll just get Debbie to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I guess he needed like a front because he was. Thank you very much, Bryce. That's awesome. Yeah. I think Michael was guilty as hell. Yeah, I kind of suspect he was as well. Convenient that all the boys he was friends with were good looking. Yeah, they kind of went into that on this other documentary I was watching where it's like all the kids were super cute.
Yeah.
And not all of them were white. Some of them were mixed race, but...
Yeah.
Victor says Blanket and Prince do not look white. They definitely look mixed. Dark hair, eyes, and complexion. So, yeah, I don't know...
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, like I said, I've only seen them when they were younger, and I don't even remember what they look like.
I thought one of them was definitely like Scandinavian looking.
Yeah, maybe.
From what I saw.
But like I said,
a long time. That was a long time ago.
Because I think the guy that was talking like that, that was one of the sperm donors, or so he said, he was a white dude, but that might have just been the other one. You know what I mean? Because he had, like I said, he had 3 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Boomer Lady said the kids would get his original nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he was afraid of.
He didn't want those features.
Yeah, because he had a lot of self-hatred about it. Because he'd always been kind of like... I saw... And I actually did kind of feel bad for him for a second. Or for little him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hold on. I wanted to say... I just wanted to plug the super thanks button. If you're listening to the channel recorded and you want to give us a tip, you can do it through super thanks. It is activated. And... thanks, Bryce, for the first super chat of the evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, that helps out. Because we didn't mix shit on StreamMate today.
Pimping ourselves out.
Slow as fuck.
It was slow as fuck today.
Yeah.
I know. I'm starting to get worried. But yeah, what are you going to do?
It's just a numbers game.
What are you going to do? You just got to sit there and roll with it.
Yeah.
But now I forgot what I was going to say. Winterfell Forever said, being a totally unashamedly armchair psychoanalyst here. Yeah. Jackson seemed to have a lot of self-hatred issues regarding probably to his father's abuse when being a very young child. Oh, yeah, definitely. And I was watching an interview with him, and he remembered an event from his childhood. Well, I guess when he was like a little bit older. He's like, so he was out with all his brothers, and the Jackson 5 were very, very famous at this time, but he had grown up a little bit. He's like, and this person came up that was like a fan. It's like, oh my God, the Jackson 5, you know what I mean? And she's like looking at all of them. He's like, where's little Michael? Where's little Michael? And they said, oh, he's over there. And he had grown up some. And the woman went, oh, what happened to him? Yeah, like, because he got older, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't cute anymore.
Right.
And so apparently that affected him a lot. And like I said, his dad used to like fuck with him about his nose and all that other kind of shit too. So, yeah, High Desert said, I read rumors that MJ's father called him an FAG. Yeah, I don't want to say that, but and other names regularly. Yeah, I'd heard that as well. So, yeah, his dad really didn't seem like a nice person.
Yeah, he was ignorant.
Yeah. It's, and like I said, that in no way excuses anything.
Yeah.
But,
might have been part of the problem.
But
he definitely, when he got his hands on money, I don't think he was trying to reboot his whole life and his whole self.
Yeah.
He changed the way he looked. I don't think he wanted really anything to do with his family. He probably paid them off to try to get rid of a lot of them. I think he was on okay terms with Janet, though. I think. For
a little while. Although LaToya, she came out and said that she thought he that he was a pedophile.
Right, yeah.
But then later on, she recanted that and said, "Oh, my abusive husband, like he was abusive, like he'd been arrested for it and stuff. He made me say that." Yeah. And then I'm just sitting there going, "Well, why would he make you say that?" But I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. But she recanted it later.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. Because I think the family kind of disowned her for a little while.
Yeah.
Like after she said that she thought that he was,
LaToya.
that he was a PDF file.
Yeah.
So
I actually thought Janet was okay. I thought her music was okay when it came out. It was just more pop music. It did sound like Michael Jackson music a little bit, though.
Well, yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, they're all in the same family, so
right.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. American Military 100 said Michael Jackson was made fun of by his brothers and father for having a bell pepper nose or bell pepper. I'm not sure.
A bell pepper nose.
I guess because it was wide. Yeah. And then he also said he was very close with LaToya. They were the closest of all the siblings. LaToya said that she had seen like payoff checks that he was given to like the kids and stuff. Bryce said it's weird because Michael was actually a good looking guy before his surgeries. He was. You know, when he looked a little awkward when he was a teenager, but a lot of people look awkward when they're a teenager.
Whatever he did, you know, celebrities get little tweaks. They just do because they can afford them. I would have kept it right about Thriller. That look.
Yeah.
That would have kept it like that. Bad. I thought he looked fake.
He started going a little bit too far.
I was like, come on, man.
And then he just started looking
like a Disney. You look like a Disney princess. Not a real Disney, but a drawing of a Disney princess.
Yeah, he started to look like not like a person anymore. Yeah. Like he started to look like a weird simulacrum of a person.
Yeah.
You know, because they were doing so much weird shit to his face.
And then they were airbrushing all the photos. You weren't sure exactly what he looked like. I was looking to see him on I cover that Bad album, and I was just going like that. I love those boots, though. I was going, those are some badass fucking boots. I was like, where did he get those boots? And really, unbeknownst to the modern normie, fucking the normie back in those days, probably even today, wouldn't know that Michael Jackson ripped those boots, and a lot of that outfit from that album ripped it off from the goth scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially those boots.
Yeah,
that was goth shit.
Those are
goths are wearing that shit.
Those are very gothy boots.
Now, they were custom made to him, but that's what inspired him.
Yeah.
Basically, tall pixie boots with buckles going up the sides, kind of like a motocross boot, really.
Or winkle pickers. That's what they used to call them.
The idea was based upon motorcycle boots, though.
Yeah. Ben said there were rumors that LaToya was Michael Jackson in drag. Yeah, I remember hearing all that. Well, she also got most of her nose shaved off, so you know I can see how they were thinking that. Yeah, Ben said they were never seen together. Yeah, I've heard that too. I don't know if that's the case, but they she was not as pale as him though, but her nose looked as fucked up. But you know,
we still got a lot of ground to cover, don't we?
We do, yeah, but I'm just kind of going through like you know what I mean?
Because we talked about a lot of it already.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. So I'm just kind of like jumping around, but I do have kind of like all these notes and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, so this first kid, this is how this happened. So Michael Jackson's car breaks down. The guy that owns the garage calls his wife and is like, holy shit, Michael Jackson's here. He's super famous. Like, come down here and meet him. And then she brought the kid, Jordan. Now, so Michael Jackson and Jordan start to become buddies, like I said. And this is this is what happened to, like, a lot of these kids. And so Michael Jackson starts hanging out with this whole entire family. So Michael invited Jordan's stepsister, and his mom to Neverland Ranch, and they would come there like every weekend. He also took them to Florida, he took them to Las Vegas, like he took them on all these trips and stuff. So at this point, Evan, who's the dad, like I said, the mom has remarried, so they're like separated, right? They're divorced. But Evan, the dad, he is like supposed to see the kid on weekends, but obviously the kid is like, no, I want to go to Neverland and hang out with the famous person instead of seeing my dumbass dad. But then it seemed like Evan told the kid, hey, you should spend more time with Michael Jackson, and then says to Michael, you should build an extension on Neverland so we can live there, you know?
Yeah.
And so I guess he was going to do it because he went and like pulled the and tried to get permits and everything like that, but they couldn't get a permit. So then Evan says, well, why don't you buy us a house then? And I guess he did. So like I said, that was the same month that that they went to the World Music Awards in Monaco, and that was where, like I said, I saw that real uncomfortable clip of like this 13-year-old boy like sitting in Michael Jackson's lap, and it looks like really, really weird. Evan apparently got mad about this because he wanted to go to Monaco. Like, he's the dad, right? You know. So he got mad, and he starts getting all upset about it. Now, at this point, Evan said he was starting to suspect that Michael Jackson was doing something with his son. He's like, because he would see them, and he's like, he never saw them doing anything inappropriate necessarily, but he's like, they were always in the room, like, for a long time. And he's like, he would see them in bed together, even though they had clothes on and shit like that. So, but he started to think something fishy was up. Now, in July of that year, he calls up, or like the stepdad, Jordan's stepdad, calls up Evan, his real dad. And they're talking about, what do you think is going on with this Michael Jackson situation? Now, David Schwartz, who was the stepdad, he was recording this conversation. It's all over YouTube. Like, you can find this conversation. And apparently, Evan Chandler on this phone call is very, very hostile. He calls Michael Jackson evil, and he said that he had hired a lawyer, the nastiest son of a bitch I could find, and he said, once I make that phone call, this guy's going to destroy everybody in sight in any devious, nasty, cruel way that he can do it. I've given him full authority to do that. If I go through with this, I win big time. There's no way I lose. I will get everything I want, and they will be destroyed forever. Michael's career will be over. This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief. He will not believe what is going to happen to him beyond his worst nightmares. He will not sell one more record, which that wasn't how that turned out. But so, as you can imagine, this recording was like a big thing for the defense, like when this, you know, when they were like talking about it going to trial and everything. Although I don't think this actually went to trial because Michael Jackson paid them off. You know what I mean? Which doesn't necessarily imply anything, but, you know, I'm just saying that they came to a settlement. Now, the thing about this, so Evan seems to be saying that he's going to just sue Michael Jackson back to the Stone Age, presumably because of the allegation, but he's just trying to get money. Because at this point, David Schwartz, the stepdad, says, well, how would that help Jordan? And the dad says, that's irrelevant to me. Like, he didn't really seem to care that much about the kid, I guess. And then he said, the bottom line is, yes, his mother is harming him and Michael is harming him. I can prove that, and I will prove that. It cost me tens of thousands of dollars to get the information I got, and you know I don't have that kind of money. I'm willing to go down financially. So it so happened that a month after that, Chandler, who, remember, as I mentioned, was a dentist, he was pulling one of Jordan's teeth, and he had him under the, you know, the anesthetic or the sedative or whatever. And he apparently, when he had him under, he asked if Michael Jackson had molested him, and the boy said that he had. So at this point, Evan Chandler goes to Michael Jackson's lawyers and asks for $20 million and said, or I'm going to take you to court, like, for child molestation. Michael Jackson says, no way. And then a couple weeks later, though, his lawyers, Michael Jackson's lawyers, come back and go, tell you what, we'll give you $1 million. And Evan Chandler said, no. How about $15 million? So then Michael Jackson said no again and said, oh, well, now I'm just going to give you $350,000. And then Evan Chandler said, absolutely not. He also, there were stories going around too that he was trying to get a film production deal, because remember I said he was a screenwriter, so he was trying to get that as well. But the thing about it, and I think that something that a lot of people use to kind of like argue Michael Jackson's innocence is that, you know, if all of these people that said that they knew this stuff was going on, like, because some of his the staff that worked at Neverland, like maids and drivers and things like that, allegedly said that they saw, I saw Michael Jackson like naked in the shower with a boy. Like, some of them, you know, the maid said, like, I saw their underwear like together on the floor and like all this other kind of stuff, or like they were naked in the hot tub or something. And like one of the maids, I think, like even quit over it, but none of them went to the cops though. And a lot of people are just kind of like, well, if you really thought something bad was going on with these kids, why didn't you go to the cops? And a couple of them actually went to, like, you know, tabloid TV shows like Hard Copy and shit like that, and like made thousands of dollars telling that story. So people do try to discredit them that way, which I get.
Had she gone to the cops, nothing would have happened.
Yeah, maybe not.
There's no complaints.
Right,
If
and
it
that
showed up and went,
yeah.
Is he molesting you? And the kid would have gone, no. And they're okay, we gotta go, bye-bye. That's what would have happened.
And one of the
That
people
money.
said that because
Yeah.
they said, well, why didn't you go to the cops if you
Yeah.
knew this was going on? He's like,
Yeah.
well, I didn't think they would believe me.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't care.
And
There
maybe
has to
not.
there has to be a complaint.
I mean, maybe not.
Because they have to prove it.
Yeah.
And if they don't have the kid as a witness
Yeah.
to give the testimony, it'll never happen.
Then it'll never happen.
It's not going to be anything. Well, look, we're going to have to do blood tests on everybody here. We're going to we're going to fucking make sure he isn't diddling anybody. You know what I mean? And the kids are going there, oh, he ain't diddling nobody. You know, oh, we're still dumb. Arrest them all. You know, fucking separate them. Ain't going to happen.
Right.
Ain't going to happen. There's got to be a complaint.
But that's the thing, and particularly something like this, like any kind of like sexual abuse or particularly child sexual abuse, it's
Yeah.
very difficult to prove.
It's got to be
just by its very nature.
It's got to be a complaint from the kid or the parents of the kid.
Right. And
It
even
can't be the
then,
maid. I think he's diddling them kids, and they're like, well, yeah, they're not complaining. No, we got to be able to prove it. You know.
yeah,
It's not
that's the
gonna happen.
thing. So yeah, I can say yeah, it was probably pretty shitty that like she
Yeah.
got $20,000 from hard copy or whatever the fuck like for selling her story.
Cha-ching.
But yeah, well, everybody got to cash in
You
somehow.
got
I
to
guess.
cash in, and she didn't want any part of it. She left.
Yeah.
That's all she could do. She might as well cash out.
Yeah.
Could damage his reputation. That's to help damage his reputation.
I mean, it did.
Because look,
we're still talking about
based
it
on,
nowadays.
You know, I don't have any proof. I can't say it. You know, allegedly. You know, blah blah. Going to cover my own ass. I think he did it. I think he did it based on the testimony. I can't prove it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying he did do it. I'm saying I think he did it.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Yeah.
like leaning that way too, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's just, there's just too much.
When I heard those boys talking about the things that they did and the patterns and of behavior, I'm going like, yeah, this is a dude running a harem.
And the thing about
Yeah.
it, like even before, before Wade and James and stuff like that, who the two guys are on Leaving Neverland, like this kid, Jordan, the first one that came out with, and I don't even know if this was like the first kid that he did this to. This is just the
Yeah.
first one that reported it, I guess. When they interviewed him, the stuff that he said that Michael Jackson did was very similar to what the two of them said on that documentary, like almost exactly the same, like the same kind of patterns, the same little nicknames that he had, like this, just the same situation. Just the whole situation was very, very similar.
Yeah.
And
he was being a playboy.
yeah, and it was just kind of like Jordan said there, because I saw like some interviews where the cops were interviewing him, and and he was like a tween or like a teenager at this point, and he said that and this is something that the other kid said too, that it's like, he would like kind of put his hand like over their crotch, like with the pants on, but then like reach in there. But he was always trying to tell them, it's like, like trying to teach them how to masturbate, or, or I can do it for you, or something like that. Like it was always that kind of shit. Yeah. So asking if he could kiss it, like that kind of thing, that like a couple of them like reported that as well. Yeah. So it just seemed like a pattern of behavior.
Yeah, and what they said kind of lined up.
And it did kind of line up with other like stuff that PDF files would do. Like this kind of PDF file that where they're kind of just trying to groom you or like manipulate you into doing stuff, and not, not strong arming or not forcing or anything like that. You're just trying to get you to like be into it, like because it's okay,
and
like, because we're in love or
he's
something.
kind of got his little harem on a conveyor belt. They're ranging from about 7 up to about 14, and they're, as one ages out, he's getting new ones. About 7.
Yeah.
So he's got his little harem. Had that been a straight guy and 33 with all that money, he'd probably have 6, 7 girlfriends,
Yeah.
ranging from barely legal up to like 40-year-old super cougar. And he'd be fucking running them on a conveyor belt too, aging them out.
Yeah.
Later on, he's 50. It's not quite the same harem, and the 19-year-old that he had is now, 30 something. That's what he was doing, which I was like, I immediately recognized it as male behavior.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's what he's doing. So the claims are very believable. Very believable.
I mean, it does seem very plausible to me.
It's just that his targets were males at a certain age range that are underage.
Yeah.
But he's doing what a straight guy does to older women, basically.
And like I said,
Yeah.
it really seemed like these seemed like romances.
Yeah.
Like, and he seemed to see them that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, he would write them love letters.
Yeah.
They would walk around holding hands and
Yeah.
cuddling all the time.
Same thing with a dude that's 33 and he loves all those women, loves them all equally
Yeah.
until he's not interested in them anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and that might be, you know, for various reasons. They get sick of the damn being a part of a harem, and they find a man that can afford them. That kind of deal. You know,
Maybe
that kind of shit.
But yeah,
they're doing that too.
So yeah, so in this case, it does seem like the mom didn't think anything was going on at first, but then she like kind of decided like, oh, maybe something is going on like later on. Now they did a search of Neverland Ranch, and they questioned a bunch of kids who had spent a lot of time with Michael Jackson. All of them what?
Read what Allison said. The bottom.
Oh, his screen name would be Billie Jean 7214.
Yeah, 7 to 14.
7 to 14.
7 to 14.
Oh my god,
That's a good one.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah, that was his age range. Let me go get that.
I probably need some ice.
Okay.
No, because my ice all melted.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of kids said that, you know, that he had never done anything to them and stuff like that. But like I said, the thing about it, and this has been brought up on a couple of different documentaries too, it's that after 1993, when this allegation came out, and it was just like a huge thing, and it was like on all the news, and it really kind of like besmirched his reputation, you would think that he would maybe like back off on the whole hanging out with little kids and like holding hands with them and taking kids on tour with him and shit like that kind of thing, just, you know, just because, to avoid any appearance of impropriety, I guess. But the fact that he didn't do that and he just kept on doing the same shit anyway, and then, like I said, ended up going to trial again in 2005 when there were different kids making different allegations. I just kind of feel like, I think that just goes to show how he really didn't think. I really don't think that he thought he was doing anything wrong necessarily. Like, I'm not saying that. I think he knew it was wrong because he's like, oh, we'd get in big trouble and go to jail if your mom caught us. Like, because some of the kids said that he told them that. But I don't know. He just didn't really seem to see it as a big deal, or he didn't really seem to see it as a bad thing. It didn't seem like to me, which is messed up. I mean, he just seemed to think it was okay. But like I said, he did know that he would go to jail if he got caught. I mean, he did know that because some of the kids said that. So, I don't know. So yeah. So
he sees himself as a good guy. He doesn't see this as anything wrong.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
He loves these kids.
Yeah.
Until he's sick of them.
Yeah.
Until they break up. You just don't understand. You're ignorant.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And I wanted to bring this up because Ben pointed this out. It said some of the kids' testimony has been contradicted. It's like one kid on Finding Neverland, I think this was Wade, claimed he was molested at that train station, except it hadn't been built at the time. Yeah, I had heard that allegation because I don't think the train station at Neverland was built until he was 15 or 16, and I think that he didn't see Michael Jackson anymore after he was 14. But I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if he's... I don't know. Like, listening to them talk, it just really doesn't seem like they're making the stuff up. And it's like maybe...
They knew him too well.
Well, and the thing about it is maybe they just kind of got timelines confused or something like that. Like, it happens. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but memory isn't all that real.
Yeah, so I don't really know if that completely discounts it. That is kind of like a ding against the story because, that wasn't there.
And another thing, though, is that just because, okay, we were talking about some of the celebrities like Macaulay Culkin and fucking some of these, I can't say that dude's name. Fucking
Corey Feldman.
Yeah, Corey Feldman. Just because they weren't molested didn't mean he was doing other. You see, those were celebrities. He might have been attracted to them. He might have been afraid of them because they had enough money to defend themselves. They're harder to bribe, those families. So he probably didn't do anything with them.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before, because
Yeah.
like I said, Macaulay Culkin has always been like a big champion, and Michael Jackson said, he hung out with him a lot, like when when Home Alone came out and he was getting real famous, and he's just like, oh, he never did anything to me, we just hung out in his bedroom, played video games and all that kind of stuff, which that very well may be the case.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that he didn't do it to other people. Like you said, perhaps because Macaulay Culkin was famous, was like a big star and like had more eyes on him.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was easier for him to go after kids that were not as well known.
Probably didn't see Macaulay. What's his name?
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay. That's not even a fucking real name. Come on. If you don't have a name like Bob or fucking Pete and shit, I'm not gonna remember. That's not a real name. That's some Hollywood name. Okay. Just because that kid didn't get the dick didn't mean that fucking he didn't want to give it to him. It's just he had protection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Mike probably had a crush on him, but
maybe
considered him unattainable.
Yeah.
Kind of like you're dating a girl or something. You like her, but you can't get it. It's going to be something like that.
Yeah.
Or he got it, but it was true love, and he's going to fucking back me. I ain't going to give you up, Michael. Not till I die.
Well, like I said, it might have been that too. Because,
too.
Yeah. And it could be, like, Macaulay Culkin, he had a lot of problems also. And when he was growing up. I mean, it's difficult. Like, being a child star, like, fucks you up really, really bad.
Yeah, and then saying that Michael Jackson fucked you would fuck your career up if you're famous, too. So you can't fucking say anything.
Well, in a way, that's kind of what that was one of the reasons that, Wade, one of the guys on Leaving Neverland, that was one of the reasons that he really didn't want to say anything, was because, I mean, he's quite famous, like he's a choreographer, and he worked with like NSYNC and Britney Spears and stuff like that. And he ended up moving to the United States when he was a kid because of Michael Jackson, because he lived in Australia, and he was a huge Michael Jackson fan, like when he was 5, and he learned to dance like him, and he won a dance competition, and the prize was you got to meet Michael Jackson. That's how he met him.
Yeah.
And he danced so cool that Michael Jackson's like, oh, you should come to LA, like come on tour with me. Like he put him up on stage, like in his shows and everything like that.
Scooped it right up.
Yeah, and so like he moved most of the family. He moved most of the family to California.
Smooth. How much you ever bet Michael came up with that competition? I'm gonna find who can.
He did.
Who can dance like me the best? I'm gonna see if he's hot. Oh yeah, he's hot. You coming with me? Pack up your whole family, just like Willy Wonka.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's weird. I mean, when you think about it, like I said, and I think that his mom in particular.
I need a dance partner.
Yeah, his mom in particular, like she's interviewed quite extensively, like on this documentary too. And I kind of felt bad for her, but then in another way, I was just kind of like,
idiot.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's like you picked up your whole, like she seems to regret it now, but
he got a career out of it.
He did, yeah, and like I said, he did really well for himself, and he seems, okay now. Like he got married, he's got a kid, and everything like that. But it's just kind of like, it's just so weird. And she said, like, even at the time, like it wasn't even the whole family, because I think she was still married to her husband, but they left the fucking husband back in Australia.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck are you going with?
Didn't he kill himself later?
I don't know.
Like several years later, I think he did. I think he committed suicide many years later. But I don't know if it was just because of that. It might have been like some other things too. But she took Wade and the sister and took off and went to, and she said that it was her dad or her father-in-law or something like that was at the airport and said, have you lost your mind?
Yeah.
Like you're just uprooting your whole entire family and you're go there. But they were with him, Michael Jackson, all the time. They were like, they stayed in Neverland for like months at a time.
Yeah. Tammy brings up a good point. He says, well, Ted Bundy didn't kill every woman that he met.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I'm not saying that like all the kids that said, oh, he never molested me. I'm not saying they're lying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying maybe he didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a bunch of kids around all the time. Like I said, mostly boys. He didn't really seem to fuck with girls. You know what I mean? Like he didn't really. He had friends that were grown women. Like he was friends with Elizabeth Taylor famously, and I think he was friends with Brooke Shields for a while and shit like that. So they hung out. But it's just kind of like, so he did have his champions.
Yeah.
Because Elizabeth Taylor always went to bat for him and stuff like that. But it just seems like
Elizabeth Taylor was a fag hag.
Well, which, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it must be said.
That's yeah.
Nothing wrong with fag hags. It's just,
That's what she was.
But yeah, she definitely was.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I kind of feel like, and like I said, it's crazy that he was just so open about. Just he wanted to hang out with kids. He didn't really hang out with grown-ups all that much.
Yeah.
Like there's all this footage of him like running around Neverland Ranch, like, you know, playing with bubbles and all this other kind of stuff. And there's just all these kids, and it's almost always boys. Almost always boys. And they said that he would have like all these kids up on stage at his shows, and I was kind of looking too, because I was just kind of like, how many of them are girls? And it's just like there'd be like one token girl, yeah. But it's like it was pretty much all boys.
Yeah. Put one girl. Put her over there on the end.
Yeah. So I don't have to look at her.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
He really didn't seem to have much time for girls at all, of any age.
Allison asked us to explain Bubbles the chimp.
Yeah, what was that about? I mean,
Bubbles the chimp was just a possession. It's a child, like it's like okay. I think fucking
Oh, she wants to know if he had sex with Bubbles.
No, I don't think so. I think
well,
no. I think Bubbles
or Bubbles.
I think Bubbles was kind of like the prototype for fucking Blanket. Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having a child. It wasn't quite good enough.
Except a child that could tear your arms off.
Yeah, they grow up and they get mean and they can't talk, you know. So I think he got bored with Bubbles. I don't know what happened to Bubbles. Probably sold Bubbles.
Yeah, whatever did happen to Bubbles? Did he just like sell him to like
probably
a fucking...
sold Bubbles. And then sold him to fucking
Victor said he just blew Bubbles. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh my god.
And he decided he was going to have children of his own. Through sperm donors and paid women.
And some people have speculated, and like I said, this is a legend, and I don't know if this is the case or not. But it's
celebrities
just like,
are freaks, man. And
well,
he's a freak of the celebrities.
when they, I think this was during the 2005 allegations, they were talking about taking his kids away because they didn't know like if he was doing something to them too. I mean, they deny it, but you know, and there's I don't know if there's any reason to think that he did anything to his own kids, but
I don't think so.
But yeah, I never really heard anything like that.
Probably not.
Yeah,
he probably wanted to have the experience of having children. He was getting older by that point.
Yeah.
I think he died at what, 50?
He was 50 when he died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he died older than I thought he did. I thought he died in his 30s or 40s.
No.
I thought he died in 40s.
Yeah, he was 50.
50, yeah.
Yep.
And does anybody know what he looked like at time of death? I don't think they really...
Well, no, yeah, they did, because he wasn't, like, reclusive or anything. Okay. He was actually, the day before he died,
he was out?
He was rehearsing for... He was going to do, like, a big comeback tour.
Okay.
And he was at the rehearsal, and they said he seemed totally fine.
Okay. So he looked the same as he did.
Yeah, probably more or less.
More or less, he looked the same as he did in his 30s.
And they said when he died, like, the autopsy said that he was actually, like, pretty healthy.
Okay.
But the thing about it, like I said, we might get into that, like, a little bit later, but... I mean, he died. It was essentially like a drug overdose. Well, he was. The doctors were always prescribing him these because he had insomnia, and so they were always like he got addicted to painkillers at one point too.
I wouldn't be able to sleep at night either if I was fucking doing the shit he was doing.
Well, yeah, you got a point there.
Juggling all these fucking boy toys.
You got a point there.
Fucking
maybe he's just
this shit could come crashing down at any moment. They're all so ignorant.
Yeah. So he's just like keeping him awake.
Yeah.
So he had to keep taking more and more powerful like sedatives to get him to sleep, evidently. So the doctor that ended up getting convicted of like involuntary manslaughter, like I think he did 3 years, or he got a 4-year sentence, but I don't think he served it all. But
they're saying Bubbles went to a zoo.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Because Bubbles bit Michael.
Bubbles knew what was up.
Yeah. Don't you ever touch me again, bitch.
Well, at least he didn't. Bubbles didn't eat his face off like the. Although maybe Michael Jackson would have liked that. He's like, "Whoa, I can start over, a clean slate."
Yeah.
But we're terrible.
Just take some off my ass here and just put it on right. It's smoother skin here. It'll never grow razor stubble.
High Desert said Bubbles died normally a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, he's got to be dead by now, but I don't remember what the life expectancy for a chimpanzee is. Victor says y'all should do a show on Richard Simmons. Is he a recluse because he got fat? Is he being held against his will? I need to know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was the thing. Like, he disappeared?
Oh, man. Richard Simmons, first of all, he was a fake fitness expert. Okay? His job was to make fat women feel better. Fat old women at home to make them feel better. And because he didn't really do much working out.
Nah.
He did some bullshit, you know what I mean? Moving his arms and shit, flapping his wings.
Which I guess is better than sitting on your ass, but still, not much better.
Not much better. And then he would fucking eat and then get on the show and cry about how much they're hurting fat women and how hard it is to be a fat woman. So older fat women could this was at a time when televangelists did well.
Yeah.
Okay? He was kind of like kind of the same grift as a televangelist.
A little bit, yeah. Going after kind of like vulnerable, lonely, middle-aged women.
Right. I would say he's... Okay, I'm going to fucking put it in modern terms. He was the prototype to the fat acceptance movement. It's okay if you're fat. No, you're fat. Lose weight. But you're not going to lose your weight fucking Richard Simmons way. You got to fucking... cut the fucking diet down, make sure the hormones are straight, and lift. You'll lose a lot of weight. You'll lose a lot of fat. Aerobics is not that good at it, especially when you're older.
Allison said, I'd watch a Richard Simmons podcast. I'm gonna write that down because that is actually a good idea.
Richard Simmons.
And and Victor said, he hasn't been seen in public in years, and some people are saying he's been manipulated or isolated by some people. So that's an interesting
The mysteries
story.
of Richard. The mysteries of disappearance of Richard Simmons.
I need a piece of paper. Help.
Richard Simmons probably fat because he was fat then.
Well, that was kind of part of his shtick. Was that's how he became like a fitness guru or whatever you want to call it. Is
fake
that like
fitness guru?
Yeah. Well, I'm with bunny rabbit ears, as Eddie Izzard says. But yeah, so
and the fitness industry is chock full of fucking fakes, filled with fakes, including Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's a fitness fake. All right.
Well, it's easy to. It's an easy grift to do, like any kind of nutrition, weight loss, any kind. If you can come up with something that sounds easy and kind of crazy and like not that anybody's done before, then you can like make a fucking mint on that shit.
I respect Arnold's stuff on lifting. Yeah, but he leaves the steroid angle out. He leaves that out. All right. He fucking you must take supplements. Well, we didn't ever tell you what the supplement is, but that's supplements. Yeah. And the workout routines he's talking about only work when you're on those supplements. A fucking normal human would just probably fucking get smaller or get injured, especially if you're older, doing what he's telling you to do. So, and then he became a real fake when he went for that damn gladiator vegan diet thing. Him and some other guys cooked up the vegan secret. Whatever. No, you'll never look like Arnold did in his prime on a vegan diet. You'll never meet the protein requirements and stay underneath the caloric intake you need. Only a gorilla could do that. You're not a gorilla. They can eat all kinds of plant matter.
Last you checked.
But they're fucking eating lots of that shit, and they were built to metabolize it. And then they came out. He was saying, "Well, the gladiators were vegans. Yeah, but the gladiators were slaves too. They fucking killed them. They killed them. So, but pro gladiators, the big superstars, ate meat, and they also gave them women, and eventually they gave them freedom.
Here, have a woman. Have two.
Oh no! Not only that. Not only did they give them. Well, they had prostitutes. They give them.
Yeah, I know.
They were superstars, and noble Roman women would pay to go fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of went into that on the Spartacus show.
Yeah.
Like they were all.
They were not exaggerating.
They just wanted to jump right on those.
Yeah, and whoever owned that gladiator got the proceeds.
Yeah.
So the gladiator owner was basically pimping out his gladiators to the finest women in Rome, rich women, rich young ones, because these dudes were fucking superstars. And of course he got the cooch. Hey, I got a present for you. Look, finest Roman family. Oh, thanks, boss. Yeah, because they were in prison. They were prisoners.
Yeah. DVD Dragon said Bubbles was not molested. Lack of opposable thumbs means no hand jobs. See, well, there you go. That's all that.
Gorillas, chimpanzees have opposable thumbs.
Yeah, they do.
What are you talking about?
That was funny though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted you. Could you get into
I don't think they have sex like people do. They're not as interested in it. They just jump on a ride and then
they're just like,
come
bam, 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 and they're like, bye.
Yeah. All right, that's it. I don't think they're thinking about it.
Okay, I've passed on my sperm.
Yeah.
On to the next one. Yeah, that's kind of what they do. But yeah, so obviously this whole thing here never ended up going to trial. Michael Jackson did end up settling. I believe it was for $23 million was the settlement. And, they did come out and say, well, this is not an admission of guilt or blah, blah, blah. It's like they just didn't want to go through the media circus and stuff like that, which, like I said, fair enough, maybe. So yeah. Now, there was another kid who was hanging out with Michael Jackson at around this time, too, named Brett Barnes. He was another one that was he was 11 at the time. And they also kind of paraded him out, like, saying that he had not been molested, even though he had slept in the same bed with Michael Jackson. His story was, I was on one side of the bed and he was on the other. It was a big bed. Macaulay Culkin said, I think it was on the Larry King show, that Michael Jackson's bedroom was actually like 2 stories. Like, I guess the way he was talking was like it was like a big bedroom, but then it had like a loft, like up above it, kind of. Yeah. And he's like, so sometimes like the kids would sleep up there. But the thing about it was that, and I think that even Wade, the guy from Leaving Neverland, and his sister had slept in that loft up there. But the thing about it, though, is that most of the kids said they slept in Michael Jackson's bed.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to my original statement. What the fuck is a 30-something-year-old man doing this for months on end? Months on end. Where are the women? Where are the men? If you're gay, where are the men?
That's what I'm saying.
You don't have time for this shit. Have kids over your house fucking all the fucking time. Months on end. Get your fucking kids out of my fucking house so I can get laid. You know what I mean? Get them out of my fucking house. I gotta bust this nut.
Right.
Well, where do you think he's getting his shit? No, this is what he's into, man. Yeah, of course.
Well, I mean, it's got to be. Like I said,
makes a lot more sense, doesn't it?
It just looks super fishy.
Makes a lot more
sense.
sense.
Like I said, if it was anybody else, who would do that? Like, who would let their kid, hey, go sleep in this grown man's bed? Oh, it's fine. It's not fine.
As soon as I hear the testimony of those 2 other kids, when they're grown up and they laid it out what the system was, it's like, oh yeah, of course, it makes sense now.
Yeah. They're trying to make it seem like he was trying to make it seem like it was innocent and like wasn't any big deal. And the thing about it was, I think
he may have thought it was innocence.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the thing was that, and I kind of, I don't know if I necessarily ever thought
just
it was
little
innocent.
kids fucking around. They're just little kids.
Yeah, but and like several people in the documentary, including like Wade's mom and Wade's grandma and stuff like that, were like, oh, well, he was just like a kid himself, so we didn't really think about it. Yeah. So some people were just like, they're just
all down there playing doctor together.
Right. Like he was just the same age as them, so it wasn't weird. But then like the more that I was like reading through all the stuff about PDF files and about like this particular kind of PDF file, like what he probably was, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
They relate to children more. They just want to hang out with children all the time, and they do children things because they're kind of regressed, but they're still manipulating them into doing shit that kids should not be doing with a grown person, Yeah. So the kind of way he went about it, like I said, their stories were very similar.
And he probably thinks it's harmless and it's okay.
Yeah, I think he did think it was harmless.
He thinks he's a little kid, but no, you're not, man. Fucking, you're doing shit that fucking little kids don't do.
Yeah.
You're sophisticated enough to have a whole conveyor belt system, and an age selection system, and a grooming system, and a recruitment system. Kids don't have that.
Right. And
then all the finances to fund it. And then the fucking intellect to fucking hide it. No, you're not a little kid. You're a fucking person. You're not a person. You're an adult.
Yeah, you're a grown man.
You're a fucking grown-ass adult.
You're a grown man.
And no matter how you fucking spin it, you're taking advantage of these fucking underage kids.
Yeah, they're just kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a grown
7, that's a child.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah. 14, that's fucking underage. That's a kid. You know what I mean? That's a kid. It's not a child, it's a kid, though. And that was when he was losing interest in them.
Yeah.
Around that time. So, child. That's what he's into.
Yeah.
Not even kid. Child.
Yeah, which is fucked up.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. But yeah. So, now they did try for a while, because like I remember how I said Evan Chandler, the kid's dad, they had all that recording of him talking about how he's going to hire a lawyer and he's going to win and all this other kind of stuff. So actually the cops did look into him for extortion as well, because that was, of course, how Michael Jackson's defense team or their lawyers were going to play it, and that's how they played it in the media, that it's like, this guy is just trying to get all this money out of us, which, like I said, yes, he was. I'm not denying that. It definitely does seem like Evan Chandler was like going to cash in on the shit, but that doesn't mean that the son was not molested. You know what I'm saying?
Look, man, this is a 30-something-year-old to a 50-something-year-old dude. You look at the boys that he was hanging out with. They look like models. Especially by the time they get around 14 or 15, that looks like a boy model.
Like I said,
Haircut,
they were all actors, dancers.
Yeah.
They were all like in the entertainment industry or like aspiring entertainers.
Yeah. They weren't just friends. If they were just friends, it'd be a fat kid. You know?
An ugly kid.
Fat, ugly kid. Yeah, you're all right, dude. Here, have a drink. Yeah. No, these are fucking pretty boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely seemed to have kind of a
and that's what he was going for. I mean, they look like they could have been the secret member of Duran Duran before they were famous. That's what he was. Yeah. That's what they look like.
It is kind of like it's suspicious.
Like a miniature George Michael.
It's suspicious.
Yeah.
So yeah. So like we said earlier, it was at this point that they did the all the naked photographs of Michael Jackson, which, like I said, he was very. It's so cringy, like watching him.
Pictures of my penis.
Yeah, like my watching him. Like talk about it. It's just, I don't know. It's just.
It made it even more cringy.
It made it like even more creepy, like the way he was talking about it.
I don't know why they thought they should have released that. Now.
Yeah, that seemed like I said, it made it look even more creepy.
Look,
so I don't really know.
I read Howard Stern's book. I think it was called Private Parts. I think was the name of the book. There's a movie too, but I think the book was called Private. And in there, he had a chapter about the time Michael Jackson's people came to him during these allegations, and that they wanted him to tell everybody that Michael Jackson didn't do it. Yeah. And Stern says in the book at this time, he said, at the time of the reading of the book, and it was a new book when I got it, came out right around the movie came out. He said he didn't talk about it on the show. He's afraid to talk about it on the show. He was saving it for the book. Yeah. He said when he met Michael Jackson, first of all, the first thing he showed up was a fucking army of fucking PR people. It was a whole entourage. And it was like 20 or 30 people. And at the back, he saw Michael Jackson, and he's fucking... Say he looked like a... Say he was dressed as a member of the gay militia. That was at a time where Jackson wore these black little, like, uniform things with fucking silver trim and glasses and shit. I remember that. And he had a mask on and a hat and fucking glasses. And you could just see this little fucking head back there, behind the crowd. He sits down, and they're just working on Stern for a fucking half hour or so. And then Stern's people are talking to him, too. And he said to get to Jackson, you had to go through a maze of fucking handlers. And they were doing all the thinking for him when it came to this. Eventually, he had a chance to fucking sit down next to Jackson. And he said he was sweating. You could see the makeup dripping off his face. And he said he didn't know what to say to him. He said, and the only thing he knew about Jackson was that he liked Deepak Chopra.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Okay.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Which you can have a fucking AI meme generator fucking give you Deepak Chopra.
There actually is a Deepak Chopra sentence generator. Yeah. It's hilarious.
His wisdom bullshit. Yeah. Anyway.
I spent like a whole hour on just one day just like reading those. It was so fucking fun.
Yeah. And fucking he said like almost nothing. He goes, oh yes, I like Deepak Chopra very much, and fucking the energies are everywhere. That kind of shit. That was all he fucking said. And basically all he fucking said to Stern. And Stern got the fucking feeling. He said the whole thing was insane. They wanted him, his entourage wanted Stern to get on the radio and basically foment a fucking rebellion against the criminal justice system and all these allegations that, that they wanted him to actually go out on the streets with megaphones with fucking crowds of people and shit which was hokey as shit. Stern was going like, because Stern would do. Earlier on in the years, but prior to this, Stern did shit out in public and made stunts. They wanted him, but he kind of outgrew that. They wanted him to go back to that. And Stern said he just couldn't fucking go to bat for Jackson. He said he just kept seeing those photographs and him talking about the children, and fucking Stern was like, well, if you're so concerned about the children, where are the girls?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just said it just looked too fucking fishy. So they didn't do a non-disclosure thing. It's just that he didn't want to spoil it for the book.
Yeah.
And there were more details to it. It's a good story. But he met him for like a couple hours, but only said a couple things to him. Everything else was dealing with this maze of handlers. So the reason why I'm telling the story is that these things like making the video on how to deal with the fucking allegations and he touching my penis, my butt, that was his entourage and all these lawyers and all these PR firm experts that he had hired. And evidently they did all of his fucking PR type shit too. Or he had PR firms handling everything that he did. This might have been a very different PR firm. Well, the PR firms, man, can give very hokey advice. Expensive advice might be very hokey. And I think he paid a lot of money for that advice to make those videos. Maybe in those days, your average normie might buy into that. It wouldn't work today. It didn't work on me. It was like, that's pretty fishy, man. I would never make that video. That's very embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I think what they wanted sympathy.
Well, yeah, I think that's exactly what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Like I said, he was trying to paint himself as the outraged victim. It's like, look what they did to me. It was so humiliating.
Yeah.
And, which, it would be humiliating if you didn't do the shit, but,
Stern thought it stank to high heaven.
I mean, yeah, it just seems fishy. Like I said, the whole situation and just the shit that he was open about is sketchy enough. You know what I mean?
He said being around that guy was like being on another planet.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just seems like...
They were in a reality suspension field. They suspended reality.
Right.
And all the PR people he said that they were totally delusional. Delusional Hollywood and PR types.
Yeah.
Because this is their grift. That's how they make money.
Yeah.
Trying to save people's careers or whatever, defend people. But he said that they were not in contact. They were not in touch with the average person. And Stern said he looked at those photographs and he goes, people aren't going to like that.
Yeah.
Because he looked at it and could see it. Just look at it. It doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Where are the girls? Where are the black boys?
Yeah. Well, like I said, some people got some theories about that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, as far as I know, the only black boy that he hung out with was the kid.
And why is Michael Jackson not black anymore? That's another fucking spooky shit about that, It's a sign of some fucking weird shit happening.
Well, he had some problems. He had some very, very deep-seated psychological problems.
Yeah.
Big time. I mean, even aside from all of this stuff. But yeah,
imagine if some white dude turned himself black and just started hanging out with nothing but black boys. That would look fucking... People would arrest that dude, man.
Probably. They're like, we don't even know what we're going to arrest you for. I don't even know what law you're breaking.
Like, fucking, what the fuck?
But get off the street.
Yeah, well, there's no difference.
That's what I mean.
There's no difference.
Like, when it's the other way, like, everyone's just like, oh, he's just eccentric or whatever.
No, it's the white... It's the white fucking reality suspension field. Just because you're white, you think it's normal to be white. That's a black dude. He's become white.
Right. They're like, yeah, don't you think that's a little strange?
Yeah, how much stranger would it be if you saw a white dude become black?
Remember that movie Soul Man that came out in the 80s? That really does not play the same nowadays.
You have a white dude that became black, and he's hanging out with nothing but pretty little black boys. With an occasional little black girl, just for cover. No.
See, that's what I said, when you say it like that...
Yeah.
Or like I said, when you say it, like if it was just like a regular dude,
Yeah.
that it's like, hey, I'm gonna build an amusement park in my front yard,
Yeah.
and like have all these little boys over for sleepovers.
And we're gonna play video games.
We're just playing video games. It's like absolutely everyone would be like Predator.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
got a whole arcade with fucking stand-up console, fucking video games. I got Missile Command. I got fucking and the little boys can come over and play them for free.
Yeah.
And we'll hang out. Yeah.
Totally
have a few
innocent.
drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't tell the parents, but we'll have a few drinks.
Yeah.
I'll even let you guys smoke.
Right.
Yeah. You know. And the thing is, though, is if you're over 14, you're not invited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What the fuck?
We only want the cute young
the
ones.
Fuck?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I mean. When you lay it out
Yeah.
like that, it's clearly
Yeah, it's clearly what it is. What it is.
Problematic.
It is what it is. It is what it appears to be.
yeah.
People are what they appear to be. No matter, they say don't judge a book by the cover. No, in general, judge a book by the cover. People are what they appear. You see a dude down in a gutter, piss stained, toothless, hasn't showered in fucking 6 months. You know what you're dealing with, and he is what he appears, exactly as he appears.
But yeah, so after all these photographs that they took, because they had to show them to the kid because they wanted to kind of like prove that it's like, you know, compare his testimony with what the dick actually looked like, I guess. It's like, I'm sorry for making you think about Michael Jackson's dick. But, so according to some of the detectives that worked on the case and the DA and the photographer and everything like that, they actually thought that Jordan's description of his penis matched the photos. But apparently some other people thought not. And I think there was a controversy, too, because I think Jordan said that he was circumcised and he's not.
Now, Danny Ghostface comes in and says maybe he did it because he was experiencing racism, so he was trying to become another. No, Michael Jackson was loved since he was a child.
Yeah.
All right? No, he was a fucking celebrity when he was a child.
Yeah.
I was a little kid. Remember, ABC, then 1, 2, 3. He'd be on television, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell the difference between Michael Jackson and Rodney Allen Rigby. Because I saw Rodney Allen Rigby. I said, where the fuck? Because I saw him at the Pike. Me and his mom and my mom were hanging out. We were fucking on the Ferris wheel. Me and Rodney Allen Rigby. You know who that is. But he was a little black celebrity.
Yeah, everybody's like,
he was a
who's that?
spokesperson for Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
He was the same age as me.
So it was kind of like more of like a local celebrity.
Yeah, well, California.
California.
Yeah,
celebrity.
yeah. Southern California.
And
And-
he thought that kid and Michael Jackson. were the
Yeah, I
same
thought
kid.
they knew each other.
Okay.
They're both black. They both had afros. They're both on television. They know each other.
The two black
Every
kids in
time
afros.
they see me, every time they're on television, I wave to them. That's how I used to think. I used to think they could see me for a while, you know.
You thought people on TV could see you.
Yeah.
Aw, that's so cute.
For a little while.
That's so cute.
My dad had to tell me they can't see you, so they can't see me. No.
Because you're just like sitting there talking.
Yeah,
hey,
I'm talking to him.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
That's
Rodney
adorable.
Allen
That's
Rippy
adorable,
was his
Tom.
name. Rodney Allen Rippy. Yeah. But no, fucking Michael Jackson didn't experience any racism. He was loved since he was a fucking child by the public. He was a fucking superstar.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
So no, he was just transracial. He didn't like black people. He wanted to be white.
I mean, that's what some of his staff have said.
Yeah.
That he really did not like black, really did not like black people. Like he kind of sounded like, you know, like my old Southern grandpa.
Yeah.
Is that kind of not liking black people. But yeah, it was that kind of thing where it's like, oh, they're all thieves and they're all lazy and they're not like other people. And he would say stuff like that, allegedly. Like that's
Yeah.
what some of his like.
The only racism Michael Jackson experienced was his own. He didn't like black people.
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, I just think he had a real, like Winterfell said earlier, like, I think that he just had a real problem with, like, self-hatred.
Well, it probably started with the family.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't get along with his family, so he was trying to reboot who he was. When he got money, he rebooted,
Yeah.
and he wanted to be a different person. That's all it was.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like, he just wanted to distance himself, like, as
Yeah.
far as possible, and he just wanted to look completely different. You know what I mean? So yeah. So we talked about LaToya before, saying that she kind of went back and forth on it. Like, at first she was kind of like, oh, I support my brother, he'd never do anything like that. And then she comes out and she's like, oh, he's totally a PDF file. And then, she said something like, I think she told Katie Couric, it's like that he had boys over all the time and they'd stay in his room for days. Then they'd come out and he'd bring another boy. And he said he never had two at a time, like, which she thought was fishy. Also said that she saw checks that he wrote out, like, to the families, which was supposed to be hush money. But then, like, people try to discredit her, too, because they said, well, she tried to sell that story to a tabloid for, like, $500,000, so maybe that, I don't really know. But, and then, like I said, later on, she recanted the story and said, oh, my abusive ex-husband, like, made me say it for some reason. I don't really know. So there's that. Now, so right around this time, like I said, a little less than a year after the allegations came out and, like, they were trying to reach a settlement or whatever, he married Lisa Marie Presley. Now, they had met a long time ago. I think they met, like, still while Elvis was still alive, like, when she was kind of young.
I almost went to high school with Lisa Marie.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. My mom's boyfriend, she was going to marry him. He was a fucking chemical engineer, lived up in fucking Ojai. And that was the local private school, was at Ojai. And fucking Lisa Marie went to Ojai. Good thing I didn't go. She said she hated that school. It's nothing but snot. Nothing but snot. Mostly celebrity kids. Good thing I didn't go to Ojai. Fuck that place.
But yeah, so apparently they'd been friends a long time ago. And I guess, like, when all of this shit was going on, like, they kind of sort of reconnected, like, friendship. And I guess he was calling her all the time, like, commiserating, like, or, you know, complaining about how mean the media was to him and stuff. So she said, at least at the time, that she believed he didn't do anything wrong, and that he was wrongly accused, and said, yes, I started falling for him. I wanted to save him. So basically, he just, during one of these phone conversations, he just said, if I asked you to marry me, would you do it? Now, later on, like I said, she did come out and say that she was angry. She called herself disposable. That was the word that she used. Mm-hmm. And she said that even at the time that he was asking about her marrying him when all of this shit was going on, Debbie Rowe was also around because, like I said, he'd known her for a long time too because she worked for him or was related to somebody that worked for him. And he was just like, well, if you don't do it, I'll get her to do it. So he just wanted somebody, it seemed like, and even in the media at the time, they were saying that it was just like a publicity stunt to distract everybody from the abuse allegations. You know, it's like, look, he's normal. Yeah. Like, he married an adult woman.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
she was pretty at this time. She was
yeah.
Gorgeous, yeah. She was gorgeous.
There was a really weird interview. Like, I saw part of this interview with him and Lisa Marie. Yeah. Was it with Barbara Walters? I can't remember who it was. But it was somebody that was asking them about it. And they were asking, because at this time, Lisa Marie, like I said, she had just divorced. Her divorce was just final like 3 weeks before she married Michael Jackson. And she had a couple of kids with her previous husband. Yeah. And she was asking if Michael Jackson would adopt Lisa Marie's kids. And he was like, well, the weird thing about it is, like, she kind of asked that question, like, pretty straightforwardly, I thought. And then he's like, I love all the children. I want to help all the children, the Arab children and the Jewish children. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? So it's like the fact that he went off like that. And then she was like, no, would you adopt Lisa Marie's children? That was what she meant. Yeah. And he was like, oh, of course, of course. And then Lisa Marie was just kind of like she didn't want, I can't remember exactly what she said, but the way she said it was like, well, they have a biological father. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, right. So it was like really weird, like the way that she said it, like the way she phrased it.
I think Lisa Marie also either dated or was married to Nicolas Cage, wasn't she?
Oh, was she?
Yeah,
I didn't remember that.
I think maybe just dated Nicolas Cage.
Maybe.
Because I remember she said she got sick of him asking questions about Elvis. About her father.
Oh, well, yeah.
And he was a huge Elvis freak.
Well, yeah, I know that.
He could do Elvis impersonations. And she said it was.
Well, like I said, didn't you ever see that David Lynch movie, Wild at Heart?
Yeah.
His love for Elvis is a whole plot point in that.
Yeah, evidently he could, she thought it was kind of creepy. She's like, he was more into my dad than he was into me.
Yeah, maybe that was the whole reason he dated her. He's like, hey, give me all the tea on Elvis, because it's like, that would be pretty weird, like not to be dated.
Pretty sure it was Nicolas Cage
for yourself. Well, now Nicolas Cage is a big Elvis fan.
Okay,
so
memory
it might
serves
be.
as Nicolas Cage. Yeah.
I'll have to look it up because I don't remember that specifically. But
I guess they weren't married; just they were dating. I think.
Yeah, because I don't know. Like I said, I don't follow a lot of celebrities,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of. I vaguely remember stuff like from the 80s and 90s, but after that, I don't have any idea.
Yeah.
But she was married to somebody. I can't remember what his name was, but I don't think he was super.
Yeah,
famous
at least
or
somebody's
anything.
proof that if you got good-looking parents, you're going to be good-looking.
Not always.
Not
but
always.
Yeah.
No, I think
Most of the time.
Because a
Most
lot
of
of
the
times, you know, as long as plastic surgery wasn't involved, and they didn't
That's
have plastic
true.
surgery.
But yeah, she seemed kind of more willing to. She didn't really say anything shitty about it. I mean, like I said, they were married for what, like 18 months or something like that, and then like she filed for divorce. Like
That marriage was never consummated. Come on, you know that. You know.
well, that's yeah, and I think that. I think for a long time she wasn't really supposed to talk about it because she thought she'd get in trouble. I don't think she got a big settlement or nothing like that, but it's just like she didn't get any money. I don't think. I don't know. But yeah, and it's just weird that it happened when it happened. And like I said, remember I think it was the Video Music Awards or something, and then they had like the both of them come out because there had been shit in the media like, why is he just like marrying her randomly like all of a sudden? And like that seems really weird and suspicious. It's, you know, the timing of it. And you know, and then they came out and kissed, and it was just like, I was like, oh, you just made it worse, because it was like so creepy. It was just like so uncomfortable.
Allison said, yeah, they dated.
Oh, okay.
And he said something about gag order. I don't know.
Yeah,
That might be
yeah.
a different subject she's talking about there.
Well, yeah, maybe like she might have had.
I think she did have a gag order because
But like I said,
she couldn't talk around fucking Stern. Stern asked her a bunch of questions she wouldn't answer.
She was like, yeah, he'd probably sue my ass
Yeah,
off.
I think that's what it was. She could say.
So yeah, she might have signed something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think anybody ever thought that he had sex with Lisa Marie. And I'm pretty sure that it's common knowledge that he didn't have sex with Debbie Rowe, his second wife, either, even though they were married for 3 years. Because those kids are not his. Those kids are not biologically his. Like, he got sperm donors. So, you know, for whatever reason. So yeah, so as I said, he'd been addicted to painkillers for a while. He actually got on painkillers. Remember the very famous, like, the Pepsi commercial when his hair caught on fire?
Yeah.
And it burned, like, a lot of his scalp off, which, like, that's not funny, but you know what I mean? So he was on painkillers, and he had to go through all kind of surgery, like, when that happened, obviously. So he got addicted to painkillers at that point, and then kind of moved on to other stuff. And like I said, he had real bad insomnia, apparently, and so he was just getting like stronger and stronger, like fucking sedatives and stuff like that. So so yeah, now, all right, so 1993, he kind of like got away with it, I guess, because they came to a settlement. It seemed like, and it still seems like nowadays, because every like documentary or anything that I watched like on YouTube about it, it seemed like the majority, I don't know, maybe I'm just reading it wrong, but it does seem like the majority of people still think that he didn't do it and still think that he's innocent. And I don't know, like, I get, like, if you're a big fan of his, that you don't want to believe that, but it's just like, I kind of feel like other celebrities, if they had done anything as egregious as this, like as open as this, like, because a lot of stuff I said, like he said, he just kind of did in the open and didn't seem to see anything wrong with it. I think people would be up in arms about it if it was somebody different or somebody not as famous or something like that. So it's just kind of like, it kills me the way, and somebody, I think it was, wasn't it, I think it was Chris Rock, like on his special, where he was talking about, like, people would give Michael Jackson a pass, but then, like, R. Kelly, like, got in trouble. What is it? R. Kelly, that was underage girls, but still, you know, but he's like, it's the same thing. So, like, why does Michael Jackson get a pass and R. Kelly doesn't? You know what I mean? So, you know, you can kind of see his point, because it's the same thing. It's just one's girls and one's boys. There's no difference. It's still, like, abuse. So yeah. I feel like at this point, I don't know. I kind of feel like the media at the time, back in 1993, everybody was kind of like, they thought he probably did it. But I don't know. He still kind of got away with it, because like a lot of his fans still supported him, and it didn't really, it hurt his career a little bit, but not really all that much. You know what I mean? But the tabloids had a fucking field day with it, you know what I mean? Like, where it was just, like, every single thing. And I remember, like, the UK tabloids in particular used to call him Wacko Jacko, which, like, that was what they called him, like, all the time. So, which, I saw somebody point out, too. They're like, that's actually, in British terms, that's actually kind of racist, too. because Jacko is referring to like a monkey. So there's that. But yeah, so there was a lot of shit about it, but it eventually kind of blew over because they, he did the fucking settlement, right? So he goes to like a drug rehab in the UK for a little while. And then it seemed like for a little while afterward, like even in the 90s still, I think they did some polls in the US to see like how many people like thought he was guilty. Only 25%, like of the public, despite all the tabloids coming out and like basically saying he was guilty.
The tabloids always had a fucking bad credibility. So whatever the tabloids said, usually it was quite the opposite. The truth was the opposite. And then they saw the things. They took pictures of him. So he did get some sympathy. There wasn't any proof.
Right.
So Americans are going to go, normies going to go, yeah, they couldn't prove it. Probably didn't happen.
Yeah.
But they were trying to... You weren't sitting down with these people going, look. Another thing is that he had Celebrity Shield, the celebrity distortion field. A lot of people back in those days, especially the older people, thought if you were a celebrity, you're okay. You can't almost do no wrong. They had people that were like that. They were kind of gods.
They get away with a lot.
Got
of
away
stuff.
with all kinds.
I mean, they still get away with a lot of stuff. But even more back then.
But it wasn't being presented to them. The evidence wasn't being presented to them like we presented it here. Like, look, if if you had a dude moving next door and he starts putting fucking Ferris wheels and fucking kids' toys out in front and an arcade in the back and invites all the boys between the ages of 7 and 14
he doesn't have any kids.
House, and he didn't have any kids. He got no invite, and he's got fucking inviting all, and he's fucking in his 40s, inviting all the boys 7 to 14 over to the house. If you're over 14, you can't come. You're not invited. That's gonna be some fucking crazy shit. There, people are gonna fucking call the cops on that dude, man.
I know, that's the thing.
Yeah, people's dads are gonna go down there and fucking touch that motherfucker up, give him a full tune-up. Stay with my son.
That's what I mean. And I kind of feel like every dad, and moms too, probably the moms too.
Yeah.
Like if you thought that somebody was doing that to your kid,
especially in the South,
holy crap, you would kill that motherfucker.
Yeah, in the South, they're not even call the cops.
Most people would.
They're just gonna tune you right the fuck up. That's what's gonna happen.
Well, like I said, even Corey Feldman said that, like in the interview, and it was kind of an old interview that I saw with him. But when he was saying about Michael Jackson showing him the weird book with like the genital diseases in it,
and look at all these diseases. You don't want to have sex with women. Don't have sex with women. They'll give you.
I know. I wonder was he telling
probably
him that? Yeah, and he was like 13 at the time. Yeah. So
this is what happens to people that have sex with women.
Yeah,
they're dirty.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's like Ed Gein's mom.
You catch this from a woman's vagina.
Yeah. Look at that. That's disgusting.
Yeah. Come here.
Women are so gross.
Let me show you how to stay clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is clean because we're, it's all clean. We're on the outside.
Everything's on the outside.
The air can get to it.
I know. Women are so gross and dirty and mysterious because all their shit's interior.
It's all in the inside.
It's all on the inside.
It's not supposed to be like that. Let me show you something. Bend over.
Oh man.
Just relax.
Nah.
That's what he told him.
Probably.
That's what he said.
I mean, that's he
didn't use that word.
Not Corey Feldman, like the other guy.
Yeah.
But like I said, he didn't say all that stuff about.
They were watching straight porn, I think.
Well, see, that's another thing. Now, when the FBI or like when the cops raided Neverland and went through there, they found. I don't think they found like any straight up kitty prawns, but they did find some books that had pictures of naked boys in them.
Okay.
And like 2 or 3 books with pictures of naked boys. And they found a picture in the house of a naked boy that they think was one of the accusers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was suspicious. But they did find a shit ton of straight porn too. And they thought, well, that's normal for a guy to have. That was like in his bedroom. But some of the kids said that he showed them porn.
Yeah.
Like either in magazines or like later on like on his computer.
Yeah.
So
That's why I was saying I don't think that Jackson saw himself as gay. I think he saw himself as straight. He knew the little boys were straight. He was flipping them, and he's not going to show them anything homosexual. It's gonna scare him.
that's what, because we were talking about that, because the guys on that documentary said he would show us porn, and they said it was straight porn.
Right.
And Tom's like, well, that's a little bit weird. But then he thought about it a second. Then he was like, oh, well, maybe he thought, like, if he showed them gay porn, then it would, like, scare them. Yeah. Because that would be, like, too weird or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think there was something about it. I think he saw himself as a straight little white boy that was fooling around with other straight little white boys. That's what he thought. Because he expected them to get girlfriends when they got older. And would ask him about it.
Right.
And I don't think... the way the guy described it, I don't think it was out of jealousy. I think it was out of curiosity. Because I got a weird feeling that technically Michael Jackson was a virgin.
I kind of got that feeling too.
Yeah.
You know, like as far as
with women.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't think he got much in terms of penetration from those boys. Just oral.
It does seem like most of the allegations were oral sex and mutual masturbation.
Yeah, he attempted some rear entry shit, but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So
evidently,
according to the sources that we have.
So maybe he was trying to like work up to that, but like,
I don't think he was trying to work up to anything, because I think his personality was not about progression. It was more about staying in a fixed childlike state.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was thinking about evolving forward into new things.
Yeah, maybe
staying regressed, staying in a childlike state of kind of a fucking semi-asexual kid, just first fooling around, you know, playing doctor with his friends. That's what I.
Yeah, it did kind of come across like that.
That's what, because it's all innocent and they're all just ignorant. You know, it's like that. That's what I think he's doing. It's like Peter Pan. Would you drink out of the water? We can fly. We can fly. You know, he's, you know, what kind of, you know, yeah.
And then, but like I said, like a lot of the kids said that he would, that he would like jerk off in front of them.
Yeah.
And then he would like, yeah. And he's like, you want me to show you how to do it, or I can do it for you, and stuff like that. Like he was doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. But yeah, so the Jordan Chandler and the family, they were going to do a criminal trial, and they also try to do like a civil lawsuit. But there was like this whole big thing about it. It's like, well, you know, we can't have the civil trial and the criminal trial going on at the same time, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually they just decided to settle out of court, like I said. And so they put all this money in a trust fund for Jordan and gave some to his parents and stuff like that. Like I said, I think it was about $23 million, how much he paid out for that. And he said that he just wanted to get on with his life and just get back to what he was good at, which was, you know, making records and stuff. And he didn't want there to be a whole media circus. But he did say later on that he actually did regret settling, and so when he was accused again in 2005, he actually did go and fight it in court then. But this one, he did not. He just like settled out of court.
Now our gay friend Victor Garcia in there says that Michael Jackson was gold star gay. I don't know the gay ranking system. Maybe there's a silver star, 2 bronze star gay, you know, but he said he's gold star gay.
Yeah.
He was gay, but I don't think he saw himself as that.
Yeah,
I think he saw himself as a little boy.
I definitely do think, like I said, he was self-loathing in a lot of ways.
He didn't want to be black, and he didn't want to be an adult man.
Yeah,
he wanted to be a little boy,
and
he didn't want to be gay either.
And especially an adult man with gay feelings.
Yeah, he didn't want to be gay either.
He didn't want to have that.
Yeah.
So he's just like, he was trying to make himself into something.
But he was too scared
different.
of girls. He was too scared of girls.
That killed me when he said
Tatum O'Neal fucking scared him. Now I heard Tatum had a fucking rough.
Oh, she did.
She was like in Hollywood orgies at 12, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but she was 19 at the time that she was. But yeah, so the fact that a 24-year-old man just kind of lays there and puts his hands over his face, like, if you can't see me, then I don't exist, like that. Like when his 19-year-old supposed girlfriend or person he's dating is like just trying to fuck him.
Yeah.
That says a lot. And the fact that, and like I said, that's not even alleged. He said that.
Yeah.
He told that story. So, you know.
Tatum O'Neal would skull drag Michael Jackson. He couldn't handle it. Too much woman.
Yeah, probably true.
Too much woman.
Probably true.
Yeah. He's going to cover his eyes. Oh my God. Was you too much for me right now?
I can't imagine being that terrified. But, you
Tatum
know.
put the pussy on you.
Right on you. Bam.
Just boom.
Victor
Just
says,
drop it on you.
Victor says gold star gay means they've never slept with a woman.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, gold star gay.
Now you know. You've learned
now I
something new
understand. It's a
today.
gay Reiki system. It's ingenious. It's ingenious.
I don't think I'd ever heard that phrase, actually.
No.
I knew that there were a lot of gay men that had
I've
never slept with
recorded
women.
that now.
Yeah.
I've recorded
Oh,
that.
Tom's going to use that, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, I don't know why people would think that was unusual, because it's like, well, there's a lot of straight people that haven't slept with the same sex either. So it's like, why would it be
gold
weird?
star straight.
Yeah, why would it be weird, like, for a gay man never
I didn't think
slept
they
with
would
a
keep
woman?
a score.
Yeah.
I didn't think gays are keeping score on that. Gold star gay. Okay, you're safe then. You're part of the crew. I can trust you. Yeah.
Not one of those, like,
You're not one of
switch
them
hitters or whatever.
fucking, bronze star gays.
The Bronze Star.
They kind of just gay
Not
when they
quite
wanna
as
be.
good.
Yeah.
Gay when you want to be.
Gay when you want to be. Man, I saw a fucking
Part-time
badass
gay.
shirt. Jenny's like, you buy that shirt. It says, I'm not gay, but $20 is $20. That's the fucking...
He showed it to me last night. I was like,
Yeah, that was all
please,
fucking-
please get that shirt. I'm like, that is so funny.
Wear that shit streaming. It'd be funny as fuck. That was off of Temu.
Yeah.
Temu.
I think it was green. It was like a...
It was a green muscle shirt.
It was like a green muscle shirt with a white type.
It says in big bold, I'm not
gay.
gay. It says gay, big J. And it goes, but $20 is $20. This is with a dollar sign. But $20 is $20.
I was like, that is so fucking
Started
funny.
laughing.
I would die laughing if you wore that fucking shirt. That would be so fucking awesome. You need that
Wear
shirt.
that shit on stream, mate.
Yeah, you need that shirt, I think.
Yeah.
Like, cause he showed that
Man,
shirt.
I would fucking
just,
go
like,
to bike night with that shirt on.
I just fucking
I would go
busted
to
out.
go to bike night.
You
with
would.
That shirt
I know
on.
you
I'd
would.
walk around a bikers and fucking they'd be like, "What the fuck?" They would laugh.
Well, yeah, that's a funny ass shirt. Victor said $20 made me gay.
Yeah, it can happen to any boy. It happens all the time, Victor. Don't be shy. Don't be embarrassed. It happens to all the boys.
I really do think you need that shirt though. That was like, I want a photograph of you. If I have to Photoshop it, I will. Of you wearing that shirt.
We could just print one up. I can make one.
Yeah, you just make one.
just
That's
make one.
Oh yeah, that'd probably be cheaper.
It'd be
wouldn't
cheaper just like I just make it. Yeah.
Oh my god. It's just it's like fucking hilarious. I had forgotten about that, so you just like mentioned it again. I'm like, oh my god, you need that so bad.
That's a gay for pay shirt.
Yeah.
What star gay are you, Victor? If you're gay for pay?
Yeah, there's got to be a ranking for that.
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah. That's probably not even bronze star. That's probably like 10 star.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
You're a 10 star.
Yeah,
gay,
just yeah.
if you're just gay for pay. It's like, yeah, it's like I'm straight, but I'll blow you for $20. You know what I mean?
$20 is $20. That's fucking funny.
Yeah, $20 is a lot of money. I'd probably need more than that, like to.
Yeah, no, fucking escort.
Not to go- not-
Escort's gonna go 300 minimum.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm not.
Street hooker's gonna be like 40 or 50. Yeah.
I don't even know if there's any amount of money that you
Yeah.
could give me to like to blow a random dude. Like it's. I don't know.
She gotta know you.
That's what I mean. You know.
That's funny.
I mean, at least for a little while, it's like
Yeah,
I
she
don't,
gotta know you.
I don't know what your fucking problem is. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I was watching this other video because they brought up this book that came out that was written by this journalist named Victor Gutierrez, and he wrote a book that was allegedly based on Jordan Chandler's diaries. Now, I don't know how bullshit this book is. The journalist apparently like spent a long time like researching this and like talked to various people. And he supposedly said in the book that I don't think like Michael Jackson ever went to a NAMBLA meeting, but apparently like the dudes at NAMBLA like thought that he was one of them. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's another one like us. Like, you know what I mean? You know who NAMBLA is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, most people know who NAMBLA is. Like, look at, or I was gonna say look it up, but don't.
No. Probably end up on a list.
Yeah, you probably end up on a list somewhere.
Man, I got introduced to NAMBLA by fucking Geraldo Rivera. Geraldo Rivera's fucking talk show had them motherfuckers on there. Remember that? Back in the 80s. Or very
yeah,
early
that's
80s.
right.
Kind of exposed it.
Yeah.
And some of those dudes were there with pictures of them nude with their little boyfriends.
Because they're trying to like normalize it.
These are like fucking 7-year-olds and shit.
Which...
They were on the talk show on the fucking panel.
No.
They were showing the pictures, man. They had like in their underwear and shit.
That's what I mean. That's kind of like what...
Polaroid
but I mean, that's kind of like what
yeah.
MJ was like, because it was just kind of like... He didn't really seem to see a problem with it.
And Geraldo's crowd didn't know how to react to it for a while.
They'd be like,
because they were like... The members of that group were trying to make it sound like it was legit. Like, oh yeah, this is just you know how the world is. Eventually, towards the middle part of that program, remember the fucking audience was fucking just outraged.
I was gonna say I can't imagine the
them a while to
the
realize
audience
what
would
the
just
fuck
like
they
get
were-
up there and like rip them all to pieces.
Yeah,
I
they
would
were just-
think
yeah.
because man,
It didn't work out for them.
it's and
that was the end.
That's a hard sell.
That
That
was the end of that. So that was the end of that group, NAMBLA.
Yeah.
That was the end of them in public for a long time. They had evidently people kept checking back with them. Geraldo Rivera kept checking back with them. The only thing they had was a fucking phone line and an answering machine. They wouldn't answer. But evidently they're back.
They went way on the down low.
Yeah, evidently they're back. That they still exist to today.
Well, yeah, it probably just went farther underground. I imagine.
And it was basically a political. It was a group of fucking PDF files.
Yeah.
A ring of them that would pick up underage boys and trade them like trading cards.
Yeah.
And then they had a political veneer of political movement over the top of it, and lawyers and shit. They were trying to get it all legalized.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which, like I said, no.
Imagine like the fucking one of those Mormon separatist cults, but for, you know what I mean, for fucking, you know, PDF files, where they just traded. That's not a good analogy, I guess.
Got lost in it there.
Just a bunch of creepy old men.
Yeah,
with like fucking super young. No, some of those Mormon separatist fucking cults did that creepy old men with all trading these girls.
Yeah.
But at least they were legal age. Those girls, but supposedly.
Not always.
But these kids were like fucking 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, fuck that. Victor says Tom's gonna get home with a bunch of $20 bills in his pocket. Yeah, be like, what have you been up to?
Man. Shit, I hope so.
How many dudes would you blow?
Listen to her, but she
You gonna film it?
No.
What do you get though?
I ain't gonna do it.
It was funny because he went to.
Go ahead.
Well, no, because he went to.
I'm trying to spin some kind of yarn, and she comes in. How many dudes you gonna blow? Just kind of. You didn't let me warm up to the story. I was gonna fucking spin some kind of fucking bullshit story. You know, if it sounded cool, but no.
I just thought I'd cut right to the chase.
How many dudes you gonna blow?
Give me a number. Come on.
So I had to back out of it. Out of it all. No. Okay. No.
It's just funny because he went to
showing up with all this money.
Yeah, where all these $20 come from?
Damn, I'm counting it.
It's like, man, you should do that more often.
And then the motherfuckers get sick of me, and the money dries up. You're like, honey, where's the money? It's like, they're not interested. They're not biting.
Oh, Tom's not cute enough anymore.
I'm used up. Yeah.
Poor Tom. We need to like move to a new area so you can like.
Gotta move to a new area to start over. Gotta go on tour, like all the other hoes going on tour.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's funny because he went to bike night the other night and I went on Streammate just by myself, like trying to make some money. And it's funny because he had his tablet with him so he can come in the room. He's like coming in the room. It's like pretty funny.
There's a dude trying to cuck me out, you know.
There was, yeah.
Yeah.
He kept making me. He wanted me to. Well, he wanted me to call you first, and I was like, "Well, you don't have a phone."
Yeah.
So I was
tablet,
like, "Well, it's I can text him or like Facebook message or whatever." Yeah. And it's like that. I had to tell you that his dick was bigger than yours.
Yeah, like the size of a forearm.
Or something like that.
And he was 18.
Yeah.
And that's,
like he was very.
So I came in like a pro.
Like,
I'm answering in a chat line, and I said, "Did you prove it? Did you go private? Turn the camera on? Because that costs money."
Yeah.
But no, he didn't see.
Of course not.
And I'm like, if you're not proving it, then you ain't shit.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Because you got to pay to prove that shit.
Yeah.
Because some dudes have said some shit, and they turn the camera on, and sure enough, I'm sitting there, yes sir. You know, and fucking motherfucker huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's either the people that turn their cameras on are either people with huge dicks or people with really, really tiny ones.
Yeah, they want you to fucking
that want you to
make fun of them.
Make fun of them.
Yeah, if it's little.
That's surprisingly common.
Yeah.
But okay, everybody got their.
Dude's
everybody
all
got their
submissive.
thing.
How could you be so much bigger than me?
Yeah.
That's his genetics.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We had that guy a couple of times.
Yeah, yeah. It was that same guy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was Irish or something.
Yeah.
From the accent.
And the fucking, I can't. Here's the fucking thing. The picture, our fucking screen is the size. It's a fucking laptop screen. The picture that you see when they turn on the camera is like this big. You can't see anything. You
Not
just
really.
You can't really see anything.
I mean, you can kind of.
But you got to pretend like you see seeing shit because you got to role play.
Right.
You get a general idea of what's happening, but you just can't. Especially we don't have our glasses on.
Yeah, because that's another thing.
That's a lot.
Because I'm just like, I don't know.
Can't
You're
really
just like a little blurry thumb.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. He's it's so small. It's okay, dude. You're just gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Cause I'm not so ruthless. Like, yeah, you fucking suck. But they got some dudes that
Well,
are
some
into that.
people
They're
want
into
you to
that.
do
They're
that.
You are you suck, man. You're never gonna.
They get
away
off on
with that shit.
You
they
being like
get
as
off
mean
on
as
that.
possible.
They're getting off on how little it is. I have a hard time doing that.
I do too. It's like I mean, and I'm not saying
now.
I'm not mean because I am.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like in that kind of situation when I don't know you.
Yeah, that dude's all pitiful and shit.
Like I'm just like, I just feel bad. I can't.
It's all right, man.
And I'll be mean to somebody I know. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll do that because it's like they know that I'm just fucking around. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to like a random person. That's
Funny
mean.
shit.
Victor said, if I had $1 for every dude I've blown, I'd have like $20. If I had $1 for every dude that's blown me, I'd be retired.
Damn. You a player.
Just think about that.
He's a player.
Think about if
Gay
you had
player.
gotten $1 from
Gay-
every single one of those
Gay
dudes.
player in the house. He's a top.
You'd
He's
be a
power
millionaire.
top.
A millionaire.
all these effeminate gays fucking lining up to blow him.
Ben says people will pay.
Either that or he's pretty.
People will pay you to laugh at them for having a small penis. I'm
Yeah.
in the wrong business. They will.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's not as unusual as you might think.
Yeah.
Like I guess that's it's a whole kink for them.
Yeah.
I mean, we get a lot of kind of like people wanting us to abuse them in various ways, but we have had a few people that like have really, really small penises, and they wanted us to like berate them. About
In general, the dudes that turn on the cameras, though, most of them are fucking fitness guys.
I would say like 90% of them are like in good shape and have like
real good shape
and have like big dicks.
Yeah,
But,
fitness guys, and they're cool. They're like, yeah, you guys are great. You know, he's trying to fucking outdo us in the show. He's got his own little camera. You see him. He's doing push-ups and shit and fucking something. You can't tell what it is. This is awesome. Dude said, we're having a threesome.
Yeah. I like that guy. He's been in a couple times. He's cool.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
And he's always on for a long time too.
Yeah, he'll fucking be on there 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Fucking, so you're gonna make fucking $60-$70 off him.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then like he'll he's funny though. You haven't seen that guy in a while though. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean he might be on like tomorrow night.
But he's
usually on in the evenings, I think.
He's in good shape though. He's shredded.
Yeah.
He's shredded. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a big dude. You can't.
Yeah,
really
like
tell
20
he's not
something.
fucking-
A lot of them are young, fit, shredded.
Yeah.
They're not older guys. They're younger guys.
I don't. Yeah, that's weird. I expected more middle-aged or older dudes, and it's almost universally like
young
younger,
guys,
like guys in their 20s.
Yeah, 20s,
almost
30s.
universally.
Yeah.
Allison said, "Can we talk about furries?" I'm a furry. Name is Bubbles.
We gotta get back to Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay.
Yeah.
So like I said, he did have the 3 kids that are, I think everybody knows that they're like not biologically his. There was that whole, do you remember that whole brouhaha when Blanket was a baby and he was in Germany, I think, and all the crowd was like, hey, we want to see the baby. And he put the baby like over the balcony and it was like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to drop the fucking baby. Yeah. And there was like a huge thing about it. And of course I
think it was an accident though.
Yeah, but I mean, who dangles their baby over a balcony?
He was just showing it to the crowd. He didn't.
I know.
I don't think he realized it was over the damn railing.
And people are like, I don't know.
Of the balcony.
You need to like put some more forethought in it. That's a baby. You know what I mean? You can't just like drop a baby.
That was Michael Jackson, though. He crazy.
It's true. I mean, this is fucking.
He's not thinking rationally.
I guess not. It's just kind of like, yeah. So the thing about it, so they had these kids, like I said, with Debbie Rowe. Now Debbie Rowe, she divorced him in 2000. So I think they were married for 2.5, 3 years, something like that. Now she gave him custody of the kids and got an $8 million settlement, $8 million back in 2000. Now, in 2004, when there was that second set of abuse allegations came out, she actually went back to court and wanted to get the kids back. Although I think they settled out of court because she was afraid that, you know, he was doing something to them, which, you know, was understandable. So what happened with the second case? So this was a kid named Gavin Arvizo, is I think how you pronounce his last name. Now, Michael Jackson would do a lot of stuff with, you know, just kids in general, but, you know, terminally ill kids. Thank you, Victor. Good show. Here's $20, son.
Thank you.
Now you have to blow him.
Dang it. It's got. Okay, we'll do that shit cyber. All right, okay. I got some new material coming. It's going to come up on Fansly. All right. And I think I haven't put anything up on it yet, but it'd probably be it's going to be for a male audience.
Yeah, you haven't put anything up on Fansly yet.
Jenny,
it's like I send you videos all the time. I sent him like a whole bunch of pictures last night, while I was.
Jenny's seen some of the tricks that I could do over fucking time. She's like, that is so fucking hot. I'm
like, do it.
I got all kinds of torture pumps and shit like that.
Yeah, I try to like make him send me videos and stuff, but he just doesn't make them. He doesn't make them. Like I said, I send him videos all the time, but... and then he sends them to random people.
No, they're not random people. They're fans. They're your fans.
He tells me later, like I sent him. It's like 4 pictures or something like in the video last night from when I was streaming because I was farting around with different stuff.
Well, I didn't know it was private.
Oh.
I thought that was stuff that was going to go up on Twitter.
Well, I was going to put it up on Twitter.
Yes, that's not private. That's promotional
material. But I didn't
material.
get to because my phone lost its connection and I couldn't upload it.
That's promotional material. That's not...
Yeah. Picture said, "Oh shit, Apple took their penny."
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so this kid, like, so Michael Jackson did a lot of work with like I said, like terminally ill kids and stuff like that. So this kid had cancer, right? And this comedian introduced this kid to Michael Jackson because this kid's dad, the parents were separated, I think, and he would go around asking different celebrities to like go to bat for the kid and like help them out with all the cancer treatments, which are, you know, expensive, obviously. So there was that. Like he had to get like one of his kidneys removed and his spleen and shit like that. So he really did have, they weren't faking him having cancer. He really did have cancer. So during the course of this, like while the family was trying to get money for the kid's cancer treatments, Jackson and Gavin, like, you know, became friends or whatever. And again, Michael invited the whole family over to Neverland and he would stay there like for a while. But the thing about it was that Gavin was the kid that was in that documentary called Living with Michael Jackson. So he was actually kind of like living there for a little while, but I don't really know. And like I said, that was the one that he was like all cuddled up next to him and like they were holding hands and it was like super weird because the kid's like, you know, 13 or something like that. Like nobody acts like that with like a grown man doesn't act like that with a 13-year-old kid. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's weird. But then Gavin later said that after he had been to Neverland a few times, like Michael stopped calling him and Gavin like felt really bummed out about it. Like he'd been replaced. You know what I mean? And that was something that the other guys like on Leaving Neverland said too, that when there was another boy brought up, like they would see the pattern and they'd be like, oh, I'm being replaced, you know what I mean? And they'd get like and they'd get like really bummed out about it.
Jackson was smooth, man. He was smooth.
I mean,
yeah.
So
he's a player.
Yeah. And then
smooth criminal.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the thing. So they did this documentary and I've seen the clip from this documentary. It's super fucking creepy, right? Like he's sitting on the couch with this kid and the guy who made the documentary, Martin Bashir, he says, well, don't you think it's inappropriate that you are sharing a bed and having sleepovers with these boys? You know what I mean? And he said, no, it's beautiful. And he's just like, why can't you share your bed? That's the most loving thing to do, to share your bed with someone. So, like, he absolutely just did not seem to, like, think anything was wrong with it. So after this documentary came out, because I kind of feel like he made this documentary, and this is, you know, only a few years. This is probably like 7-8 years, like, after the, you know, the first allegations. You'd think he would have, like, put a kibosh on hanging out with little boys, like, just so it didn't look bad.
This is his sexual orientation. It's not going
and it's like, that's what I mean. That's why I kind of think he probably did it, because he just couldn't stop.
No.
Like, he couldn't help himself.
No, that's like stopping being straight or stopping being gay. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And
like,
stopping being a serial killer. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Serial killers, that's their orientation. That's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way this dude was, sex drive. Right? And it's just kind of like, so it's that. So he supposedly made this documentary, like, this documentary guy, like, came and stayed with him for, like, several months, and they made this that was supposed to, I guess, like, make his public image better, but it did kind of the opposite, because everyone was like, that is some creepy shit, like, right there with that kid. And then they started saying maybe they should take his kids away, because he might be, like, doing some shit for them or anything like that. So there's that. Now, so a bunch of other stuff, like I said, we talked about, like, dangling the baby over the balcony, and he started acting, I don't know if this was just because of stress or because of all the drugs he was on or something, but he was at the MTV Video Music Awards, I think in 2002, and they said he was acting really weird, like all disoriented, and when they would, like, interview him sometimes, like, he seemed like he couldn't remember shit and everything like that, so it seemed like he was kind of spiraling downwards a little bit. And so after this documentary came out in 2003, the LA Department of Child and Family Services, they did they started looking into, abuse allegations. They went back to the Jordan case, and then they were thinking about, like, interviewing Gavin and stuff as well. And they initially thought maybe there was nothing to it, but then, like, one of the other investigators said, I think there is something to it, so then they reopened the investigation, like, later on that year. So they interviewed Gavin and his dad and his mom and younger brother. And Gavin, at that point, told the cops that Michael had molested him, like, several times, like, over the period of a month in 2003. Now, the mom actually said that they'd been held captive at Neverland. I'm not sure if that was the case, because because I think that later on they were able to find, like, evidence that she had actually been out and about, like, shopping and, like, at restaurants and stuff because of receipts and things.
She was captive because she couldn't leave that money.
Yeah, I think that's probably what she was talking about.
If I remember correctly, fucking Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch, I think didn't it have some fast food joints on it? I don't know if they were open all the time.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I know it had a movie theater.
It had a movie theater on it.
That had 50 seats in it.
Yeah.
And it had a little train, and it had just, I don't know, a bunch of shit.
Yeah. Evidently there are some billionaires that have compounds that have fast food restaurants on them.
Yeah.
And parking lots and fucking roads and AMC theaters on it. And it's for him and his friends when they in an airport, where they can land their planes.
Right.
And the thing is I bet you in that game, in the mansion game, I bet you his friends never even come to visit him because they all got that. It's probably mostly a status thing. And when there's a party, the staff comes to open up fucking McDonald's and shit like that.
Crazy.
But I mentioned mostly just fucking. It's probably mostly closed.
Yeah, it just seems like such a waste of space, Because I'm sure it's, like, not used most of the time. Well, I always kind of felt like that about people, like, rich people that had these big, ginormous, like, houses or compounds or whatever, and they're, like, not even there most of the time.
They're not even there, right.
So it just seems like such a waste of space.
Well, I think there might
money.
be taxes involved, and tax write-offs or something, investments involved, and they're trying to spend as much money as possible because they can't keep it in a bank, that type of thing. So they have a luxurious compound with a huge mansion and a town all on private property with no roads that lead to it other than supply roads. Everything's flown in. There's just airports.
Yeah.
I mean, that's evidently how fucking badass they can get. You can't drive to it. Weird, huh?
Yeah.
And to build it, it had roads, but then they tore the roads down.
Right. It's like erasing all that shit. It's like
get
kicking
to
the
it.
ladder down after climbing up.
You can't get to it. You can only get there
Right.
by aircraft, and everything's flown in. Man,
Yeah.
that's some security.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, and then they want to pretend like they're living a normal person's life and leave the house and go over to the fucking movie theater and watch an AMC movie in an AMC movie theater.
Yeah.
But maybe it only has one theater, you know what I mean? But that's all. If you notice how that works, all that shit's automatic.
Yeah.
A computer runs it.
Yeah.
It's just live streaming the shit.
Yeah.
And it even changes the posters out.
Yeah.
Because it's just an LCD screen.
Right.
So you don't even need an employee.
Not really.
If you're not paying, if it's free, you don't need an employee. It just runs.
Yeah. You just need somebody to set it all up.
Yeah, set it all up, and if the power's on, that bitch runs.
Yeah.
And you could probably select what movie you want to see.
Yeah. Probably. But yeah, so after this, they got a search warrant and on Neverland, and they did that in November of 2003, while Michael Jackson was not home. He was like shooting a video in Vegas or something. Now, a few days, like as soon as he got back, they arrested him, but he did post bond, which was $3 million. Now, he comes out in public, obviously, and says, you know, it's all a big lie. He didn't do anything like that. He also said, and this really sounded like bullshit to me, because there's like an interview where he said he was, quote unquote, manhandled by the police. And he was saying to the interviewer, oh, they dislocated my shoulder. It's dislocated right now. Look, this is as far as I can move it. And it just sounded like really disingenuous. I'm just going to say he just sounded like he was kind of like complaining and whining like, oh my God, I'm such a victim. You know what I mean? It just kind of sounded like that.
We had a good show tonight, man. There's a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
More than usual.
Well, this is like a good topic, I guess.
Yeah.
But so, because he had settled out of court in 1993, he decided he was not going to do it this time, and he was actually gonna go to court, and he was gonna like fight the allegations. You know what I mean? But yeah, he did say the cops like kind of beat him up and dislocated his shoulder and stuff, and they said no, that absolutely did not happen. And I'm not a big fan of cops, but I kind of believe them on this occasion, because Michael Jackson really did seem a little bit like, oh my God, I'm so. You know what I mean?
Hurt me.
Yeah, it was just kind of like that, and I was like, "Shut up, they did not." So you know what I mean?
They arrested me like a common criminal. They roughed me up.
Yeah,
No,
it's like you're fine.
No.
Um,
Handled his ass with kid gloves.
They probably did. Like
He
I
weighs
said,
a fucking 120 pounds.
Yeah.
There's not an ounce of fight in Michael Jackson. Not an
and
ounce.
I imagine that some of the cops were probably fans of his, and
Yeah,
were probably
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh man, he didn't do this. He's getting fucked over, or whatever." I imagine that, like, because a lot of people still think that he's innocent, and like I said, maybe he was. I don't know. The dude's dead. It's like there's no way of knowing now.
I would say no.
But I'm kind of leaning toward probably not.
No.
I mean, just the appearance of shit that he did was like so sketchy.
It does not make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
From South Park.
Yeah.
It does, hoo.
I had forgotten about that.
I want to see those old episodes again, man.
Yeah.
Fucking funny.
I think South Park's still on, isn't it?
It's still on.
Like I think it's still going.
I don't know where to see it anymore.
Which is crazy.
Evidently they had a noon where they roasted Hollywood last week, and they said it's fucking great.
Yeah, I kind of feel like much like The Simpsons, which I think is also still on. If you've been on that long, like the quality's going to start to dip, and I heard that happen with South Park as well.
Yeah.
But so nobody's really talked about it in a long time. I used to watch it like a long time ago.
Well, you now have the internet. It's
Yeah.
hard for South Park to compete with the internet, real
True.
internet. 90s internet, it could compete with it.
Sure.
But, I miss 90s internet.
I don't.
Yeah, late 90s internet.
I don't
It was
really
fucking-
miss
I
much of
just
anything
kinda
about the
miss
90s.
There was a mystique to it.
DVD Dragon said, "Sell my ass to a billionaire for infinite Popeye's chicken on site."
Okay.
All right, that's fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough.
All right, but we still got a little bit of time on the show, and I want to take the time to go ahead and pass the collection plate around. We had a good show tonight. We got 2 good super chats, and but every dollar helps us continue the show, and keeps me from having to pimp my wife out to fucking stream mate and myself. I'm pimping myself out.
You pimp yourself out too.
Pimping myself
and
out.
And keeps you from having to go down to downtown Sanford and blow all the bikers for $20.
Yeah, $20, man. Fucking- and- Victor, what have you done to me, man?
This is so fucking great. I am so getting you that shirt for Christmas.
We could just make that shirt.
And you better wear it.
I would make that shirt.
Okay, we can make one.
It's so much easier. So much easier.
Because then you can make it black instead.
And
of
I can
being green.
I can put it on one of my fucking favorite fucking muscle shirts.
On your muscle shirts.
Yeah, different any color I want. I just put it on a black one and just a white, because I got the white paint for it and everything.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
Just got to clear out one of those frames and you print it up right there on that printer and we'll fucking make it.
Yeah, all I have to do is buy some.
Because the font wasn't that good. You could come up.
That's
with
true.
Better,
I could probably
come up with some better shit.
I could make it look a lot.
It didn't look that cool, and it should have had like a pattern or something on there too.
Yeah,
behind
I can make it look kind of fancy.
Yeah,
kind of fancy. Yeah, we'll definitely do one because that would be a fucking hilarious shit, fucking shirt to stream in. So in December of 2003, Michael Jackson was charged with 7 counts of child molestation and 2 counts of administering intoxicating agent for the purpose of committing a felony. In other words, giving kids alcohol in order to facilitate the molestation. That was 2 of the counts.
Victor says he'll buy that shirt. Okay, I'll sell you one.
Okay.
I'll sell you one. We haven't been playing the shirt game lately. I got to make up some new shirt designs.
Yeah, we really need to do that. We just haven't had time to do it.
Haven't had time, yeah.
Been too busy pimping our asses out.
Pimping and trying to make money.
Pimping our asses out on streaming. It's sad but true.
Yeah, and you can see our videos on 13 cam. Spell it out. 13 cam.
Yeah, that's minivids.
On minivids.
We have some on Stream8 too, but they're just me.
Yeah,
because they won't let him.
They won't let me fucking sell video on there for some reason.
For some reason.
It's just a stipulation.
Yeah.
On StreamMate, you can friend us on StreamMate. It's
or favorite us, yeah.
Or favorite us on StreamMate. Jen Tom Cam, one word. You'll see us. You'll recognize us. We'll come right up. Jen Tom Cam.
I got my blue hair on in the picture and
yeah.
everything. My blue hair and my glasses.
So we've had fans fucking show up there.
Yeah, and we always kind of like that because it's like, at least it's not random ass people.
Yeah. That way we can actually talk.
Yeah.
Because we can talk in public for free.
Yeah.
Anything adult we got to do in private. You're gonna pay per minute for that.
But it's just.
Or we have a gold show.
Yeah, sometimes
I could give a better deal on a gold show.
But the problem is that some people come in and they want you to like talk about dirty shit
for free,
like so they can just sit there and jerk it and like not pay you. So there's that. But I don't mind if people just want to come in and there's nobody else in there and they just want to talk about regular shit. That's fine. Because it's kind of boring just like sitting there and like nobody coming in. Because sometimes you're sitting there for like an hour and nobody comes in. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like watching a shop.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, you're just kind of like
shop.
Sitting there. You're trying to like get people to come in. So it's like, look, I have a dildo, and it's like, you know what I mean. It's like we got porn on over here. We got music going and shit like that. But you know,
what's funny is that the dudes that do business, you don't even see them. Just boom, they get you.
Yeah, most of them
don't even talk to you.
They don't. Yeah, they don't even do a preamble. They're just like, okay, like let's go.
You're like, who's this? What you were looking for? He goes, oh, have fun. Okay.
Yeah, just do whatever. Yeah. Like I said, if they get too like specific or picky, then you know they're probably not going to pay.
They're probably
because they're just trying to get you.
They're trying to get you
to talk and for free. You know what I mean? Which I've stopped doing.
Yeah.
Because before I would start, and then I'm like, wait a minute, they're just getting a bunch of shit for free. I don't have time for this. You know what I mean? But yeah, so he gets arrested and charged, right? And they put a bunch of additional charges on there as well. Some of them were a little bit out there: conspiracy involving child abduction, false imprisonment, extortion, a couple of other things like that. So of course Michael Jackson pleaded not guilty. Now, had he been convicted, which spoiler alert, he was not, the sentence would have been, he would have got up to 18 years, I think. Yeah, was what it was. So
Michael Jackson, he got probation.
He didn't. No, he got exonerated.
Oh no, I'm saying if he'd gotten convicted
if he had gotten
as Michael Jackson, he'd have gotten probation.
Probably.
They would have sent him to some kind of camp.
Yeah. PDF file camp.
Yeah. Pray the PDF away.
Pray the PDF away.
Yeah.
That just like the first time that I heard somebody use that euphemism, I just busted up laughing, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's amazing. I'm gonna use that. Victor says I'm gonna be on there like, can you talk about Amelia Earhart? That's fine. We can talk about Amelia Earhart all you want. Have we ever done a show about Amelia Earhart?
I think we did.
I thought we did too, but it's like it was probably like a really long time ago.
Yeah, because she may have survived the crash.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about that. We were pretty sure she survived the crash.
There was
then
evidence
died
that
later.
she ended up on a little bitty deserted island.
Like, didn't they find her shoes?
They found her shoes and like something that she'd owned. It was on there.
Yeah, or like a compact
a little locket
or something.
or a compact.
Something.
It was hers. You're pretty sure that she landed that plane.
Yeah.
Out there on that little bitty island, but it's not around anything.
Yeah. Poor lady.
She would have died of thirst. There was no water there.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as I said, he decides he's going to go to trial this time because he kind of regretted just the settlement last time. So trial started in late February of 2005. Now, they actually there was a big debate over whether they were going to allow, like, the allegations from the 1993 thing, which, like I said, ended in a settlement, so that didn't go to a trial. So they had a big back and forth over whether they were going to allow, evidence from that. But eventually they did allow that because they wanted to establish, obviously, like, a pattern of sexual abuse, that he had done this to, like, several people. So here's the thing. Both of the guys that were in Leaving Neverland, the documentary, both of them testified in 1993. And both of them denied that Michael Jackson had ever done anything to them. No, he never touched us and stuff like that. And even like Wade, when he was a kid, he like went on TV, him and his mom and his sister, and, in no uncertain terms said that no, he had never done anything like that. Now, the second time, 2005, this was, both of them said that Michael Jackson called them and asked them to testify on his behalf. Now, at this point, they were both adults. Wade, I believe, was 22, and I think James was a couple years older. And Wade said that he would. So a lot of people have thought, well, you're an adult now, so you should have said, you should have admitted that, like, but at this point Wade explained in the documentary where he's like, look, he called and asked me to do it. And he's like, and I still had like really conflicting feelings about it because I still kind of loved him. But like, because he was like, his friend and everything like that. And they'd had this thing like when he was a kid. So he was like kind of fucked up about it still. And I kind of feel like he almost maybe deep down felt like if he said something bad or he admitted that Michael Jackson had done that to him, like it might like fuck up his career, right? Because like I said, he was quite famous in his own right as a choreographer at this point, and Michael Jackson had been instrumental in kind of getting his foot in the door when he was a kid. So maybe he was afraid that shit was gonna, but at this point he hadn't even told his wife that Michael Jackson had done that to him. Like Michael Jackson, he told her that they had been friends when he was a kid, but she was like, oh, well, did he ever fuck with you? Oh, no. He like denied it. But then like he told her later on, and she was just like fucking horrified. But so Wade testified on Michael Jackson's behalf in 2005. Now, apparently, according to James, from the other guy from the documentary, Michael Jackson also called him and asked him to testify on his behalf, but James would not do it. Even though I think at this point he had told his mom that what had happened to him, but I don't think he had told his wife yet. I think he told her later. But he's like, yeah, no, I can't do that. And he said, allegedly, that Michael Jackson got like really, really mad at him, like over the phone, and kind of like threatened him a little bit, like something, like not like he was gonna beat his ass or nothing like that, but like, I'm gonna sue you or some shit like that. Like he said some shit like that, like, and he said that he just hung up on him and that was the end of it. But then like later, like I said, Wade came out and said that and admitted what had happened to him. But at this point, he was still kind of in his corner. So there was a thing where Gavin was supposed to testify also, and for whatever reason, like Michael Jackson did not show up in court that day, even though he was supposed to. So at this point, like the judge put out a warrant for his arrest. It's like, that's contempt of court, right? Because you're supposed to show up and he's not there. And he's like, you were out on $3 million bond, and we're gonna like, snatch that away and like put your ass back in jail if you don't get here because you're supposed to be here. So then Michael, oh, it's Pookie. Yeah. Hi, Pookie. We're talking about PDF files.
Guesting on the show.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what a PDF file is.
Thank heavens.
Yeah.
I hope you never find out what a PDF file is, little Pookie. But
you're still 7.
Not even. She's 6.
6, yeah.
Yeah. She's 6 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, little baby. I wonder why Bam never comes on the show.
Yeah, I think it's almost like she has a teenager for a cat.
Yeah.
6, yeah.
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. So Michael doesn't show up. He shows up like an hour and 10 minutes later, and he says that he fell in the shower and bruised his lung. And that's why he's late.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how full of shit? I mean, come on now.
I fell down and I hit myself like this and I could breathe like this. I'm breathing in like that. Oh.
Oh, that was pretty funny.
I can't go to court.
How do you bruise a lung? I mean,
how do you fucking pass out and fall while you're walking and fucking pull the side of your fucking titty?
Well, I don't know.
It's the same thing.
Are you accusing me of being like Michael Jackson? But you saw that shit actually happen.
Yeah, I saw that. She pulled her titty.
It was my rib cage. Actually, it was like the muscle on my rib cage, not exactly my.
It's
titty.
better though now, huh?
Finally.
Okay.
It took like a week and a half, to heal up. I could barely move that side of my body for like.
It wasn't that long.
No, it was. It was more than a week.
Okay.
That I could barely move that side of my body, and I was just like, how the fuck did that happen? That's what happens when you get old. You just like do some kind of random shit like that, and it's like then you're in bed for a week. It sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he finally shows up, and then they have this other kid whose name is Jason Francia. Now his mom worked as a maid at Neverland, and he also said that Michael Jackson had abused him like between the ages of 7 and 10. So he said the big thing was that every time Michael Jackson did something to him, he would give him some money so he wouldn't tell his mom. Like, you know what I mean? And they did another out-of-court settlement too, but he was another guy that another kid that testified that was going on. Now, so like I said, it's just kind of like a lot of these kids did come forward at first and say that he hadn't molested them at first, but then came forward and said that he did. And then so that's kind of where all this stuff came from about, them just wanting money and shit like that. Ooh, like windows are just popping up everywhere. Also, there was a guy who was a security guard at Neverland, and he said that he had seen Michael Jackson performing oral sex on one of the kids, Jordan Chandler, in the early 1990s.
Where were they?
I'm not really sure. Like, I think that, was it him that said that he saw them in the hot tub? Like, they were naked in the hot tub, like the jacuzzi or whatever?
I don't know.
But he said that he also saw them, like, he saw Michael Jackson, like, kiss the kid on the mouth, like, French kiss him on the mouth, and then put his hand on his crotch. And said that they asked him why he didn't report that to the cops, and he said they didn't think that he would believe them, that they would believe him.
Yeah. How could they prove it?
And then another maid said that she saw Michael Jackson kissing boys too. Now she said that she saw him kissing Macaulay Culkin, and Macaulay Culkin says that didn't happen. You know what I mean? So I don't really know. Now, the thing about it, and a lot of people brought this up after the fact, was that they thought that these former employees had kind of axes to grind, because some of them were allegedly fired, some of them had allegedly stolen stuff, like from the house or something like that. So, they were able to argue that it's like, well, they're not trustworthy witnesses because they have a grudge against Michael Jackson because he maybe fired them, or, we got in trouble or something like that. So that was kind of what a lot of people said. But like I said, even if that was the case, maybe they did see the shit. I don't really know. But I don't know what was going on. I don't know if they were full of shit or whatever. So there was that. Now, let me see what else we have here, because I'm trying to like skip around, because we've mentioned some of this stuff. Because I mentioned the whole thing about wine and the like pop cans, like soda cans. Which is weird because Michael Jackson did that too, because he liked to drink, but he didn't want his kids, like his actual kids, to see him drinking. So he would put the wine in soda cans so it looked like he was drinking soda. But they also alleged that he was doing that and like giving it to kids. I don't know about his kids, but
nobody
like,
cares if his kids are seeing him do that.
I don't know.
That's some goofy shit.
I mean, it's just wine too.
Yeah.
Although, like, some of his employees did say that he drank a lot, that they saw him drunk on many occasions, and that they had seen some of the kids drunk as well. Not his kids, but you know, the kids that were staying there.
Oh yeah, they're all getting loaded.
And he was like on a lot of prescription drugs, like painkillers and sedatives and stuff.
Expounds it, yeah.
Right.
Exacerbates it.
Which not not great. So Jordan Chandler, apparently, who was the witness from the 1993 trial, he did not want to have anything to do with it, and he like fucking left the country. So you know what I mean. There was that, because there was like a whole bunch of other shit that was going on with that, and so yeah. Now, they actually called Debbie Rowe, Michael Jackson's second wife. She got called to the witness stand, too. And the story behind that, the prosecution said that she had actually been forced to make, like, a scripted video statement, like, you know, supporting him or whatever. And so they were going to put her on the stand hoping that she would say some shit about him, but she didn't. She actually said that she didn't think that he was guilty of anything, and that all of these people that were working for him and stuff were what she called opportunistic vultures who were trying to exploit him. So that didn't go the way the prosecution thought. Gavin Arvizo, he testified. He was 15, and he said that Michael Jackson had given them wine, showed them porn, and, you know, molested them, and said that Michael Jackson had masturbated him to ejaculation after they both drank. And then he says that Michael Jackson said, "If men do not masturbate, they might rape a girl." Okay.
Just trying to give him some encouragement.
I guess. I'm like,
what the fuck is he talking about?
Okay. Now, Gavin's younger brother also said...
Kind of shows you Jackson's understanding of fucking male sexuality. Well, if you don't jerk off, then you're going to rape somebody. That's not how it works.
I mean, I would be really alarmed if somebody said that to me.
Happens all the time with religious people.
I'm like,
it's called the nocturnal emission.
I'm like, are you talking about what you would do if you didn't? Because get away from me.
If I don't get some, I'm going to rape you.
Yeah,
I'm going to have my way with you.
That's what I mean. It's like, that's saying more about you than about the world, bro.
It might be projecting.
That's what I'm saying. So, that's fucked up. Now, Gavin's younger brother also testified that he had seen, on 2 occasions, Michael Jackson showing his boner and masturbating in front of both of them. And saying, everyone does it. And it's like, why don't you try it? You know what I mean? The younger brother also said that he gave them alcohol, which, as someone mentioned earlier, that he called Jesus juice, and showed them porn on the internet. So there's that.
I wonder what he called that. Those dirty movies. Let's see some of those dirty movies.
He probably does call it dirty movies.
Yeah.
Although, no, he'd probably come up with some like kind of nice sounding euphemism for it.
Let's see some of that sexual education films.
Yeah. Maybe that's what, yeah.
Sex ed.
That's another thing, and that was another thing when I was watching that documentary about different kinds of PDF files.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that's in there. They said they'll always try to, like, minimize it or justify it by calling it, like, sexual education. Like, I was educating them or, like, about, or helping them.
It's called grooming.
Yeah, it's that. Well, yeah, that's what normal people say. But it's like they always try to kind of, like, minimize it, you know what I mean? And it's kind of interesting, too, because he would... There was these couple interviews that he did where they were asking him about the abuse, and he's like, he kind of made he was like, he said pedophile, but then he said, oh, who's the Jack the Ripper in the room? Almost as though he was trying to say like a pedophile wasn't as bad as that. You know what I mean? Like the way he worded it was like really, really weird. But like I said, it was just kind of like always trying to like minimize, like it's not as bad as people are saying, you know? And they said that's a really, really common thing for like PDF files to do. Now, it should be noted, and this came up at the trial and was probably one of the things that was instrumental in getting Michael Jackson acquitted of all the charges, was that this family, what's their what did I say their last name was? The Arvizo family, is that in the past they had done things like they sued J.C. Penney because they said that Gavin and the brother, whose name is Star, and their mom were beaten up in the parking lot of the J.C. Penney after they stole some shit. Like, the security guards, like, beat them up in the parking lot. And so they sued J.C. Penney for, like, a bunch of money.
Beat them up?
Yeah.
How did they define that?
I don't really know.
Okay.
But it's like, so they apparently got a settlement out of that. So they're trying to paint it like this is a family that are scammers. Like, they just go around, like, saying, oh, my God, they beat me up. And they're just trying to get somebody to settle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, get a bunch of money. So they were trying to, like, say that that's what this family did in this case. But like I said, I don't know if that's the case or not, but they did bring that up at the trial that that they had done this kind of stuff before, you know what I mean? So there was that.
Yeah, just because those guys fucking did that doesn't mean that other shit didn't happen.
That's what
a scammer sees that situation and goes, cha-ching! Oh, we got
That's
him
what
now.
I mean. And in
Got
some
him now.
ways, I kind of feel like if he really was doing that and people knew about it, then that leaves him more open
You're real
to
vulnerable.
blackmail and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because people have information on you. Like, they're
Yeah.
like, well, I have pictures of you doing that shit or whatever. So it would even be worse if he was actually doing it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's kind of hard to, like, convict, like, an innocent person of that kind of stuff, like, and especially like something like child sexual abuse and stuff like that, where there's like so little solid evidence. And that was one thing in this trial where he got acquitted, was that the jury basically said, you know, we didn't really see any really strong evidence that he had done anything wrong, although two of the jurors later on came out and said, we kind of thought he did it, but, you know, everybody else was kind of on board with it, and we didn't want it to be a hung jury and it'd be this big thing. So they kind of just got strong-armed into going along with everybody else.
No hard evidence. That's why I said earlier on in the show is that you can make the accusation, like the maid. Oh, I saw something. I know it's wrong. How are you going to prove it?
That's what I mean. It's like, and it doesn't
Especially
mean
he's got money and all these lawyers. It's just gonna be a nightmare of proving that. You never will. You need hard evidence, and in this case, video. That would work. Video.
Yeah.
Multiple witnesses, kids that are saying, "Oh man, what that man did to me," and then they can name where it was. You might even be able to fight that.
Right.
Oh, those kids are fucking lying, you know. Video would be the way to do it. I think that's why they go after the underage prawn industry.
Yeah.
Rings. They go after them because, one, that you can prove that you got it on video.
Right.
You know, and it calls a lot of attention. And then as that shit disseminates through the internet, in a way, the kid's abused multiple times by everybody that's seeing it.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It's gonna, because they're like fucking vampires sucking up all that material.
Yeah.
Evidently, that shit was happening on Facebook in private groups. That was like one of the easiest places to do it. Like, you could talk your way in and buy your way in. This is according to one of these Facebook employees, and they weren't turning them in though. They were just kind of like shutting them down and shit.
Right.
And he said he saw some wild shit. He saw one of them where it was little boys were killing and torturing animals for money in private Facebook groups. People were paying them to go out and get animals and kill them.
Jesus Christ, man.
These are like 13, 14-year-old boys taking snakes and smacking the snakes on the ground and shit, fucking, and cutting things open. They'd make several $100s for each one. You know, people were in that group. Adults were sending them money for the next feature. Weird shit was going on in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never even think of that.
Yeah, I would like.
never
Why would I fucking want to see that?
Yeah.
But there's some fucking freaks out there.
Yeah.
Man. There's some fucking freaks out there.
Yeah.
But you know, I would never. Well, you know, it was just kind of like that motherfucker that had that video of like the kittens. You know what I mean? That they made that documentary about. Don't fuck with cats
in a Ziploc
on
bags.
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah.
That was fucked up. Or a vacuum
That's
bag or...
actually mild compared to.
Well, and that dude ended up being like an actual
yeah.
murderer. Yeah, too.
There was something that somewhere in Eastern Europe, videos were emerging of fucking some kid, early teenager, putting cats inside of cages, pouring gasoline on them and setting them on fire. He would do it. Right, yeah, and he'd videotape it. They were looking for that. What the fuck is the matter? They were looking for that kid.
Well, good. I hope they fucking hung him upside down by his feet and peeled all his skin off.
Murder Hornet sent me a YouTube video show about a case. It's called, I think it was called One Bitch, 12 Puppies, where a guy kills a pregnant dog or a dog that just gave birth and all the puppies and shit, and beats the dog to death with a fucking some kind of tool. I forgot what it was. She was chained to a tree, and he cut the puppies open and stuff and was jerking his shit with the puppies' guts and stuff, and he was fucking crazy. They were looking for that guy. They think that might have been somewhere in Eastern Europe. They were looking for that guy. I don't think they ever saw his face.
Don't listen to this pokey.
Yeah, don't listen. But that was like a video that's going around for a while. So they got some sick dudes.
Well, yeah.
And me being ex-military and fucking basically defense contractor, weird sides of the defense contracting. I'm not real confident in the white man's law, really, the way shit happens. If I catch somebody like that, I'm gonna deal with that shit myself. You can't let somebody like that walk around. They're too fucking dangerous.
You really can't.
They're too fucking dangerous. If they do that to animals and shit, they do that to humans. They're thinking, they're working up to humans. Even if there's only a 25% chance, I'm not gonna take that chance. You gone, man. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
I mean, I can't blame you.
Yeah, and they ain't gonna find not a piece of that dude.
You can feed him to an alligator.
Yeah, I got ways.
I got ways.
You know, I got ways. I got ways. I got too much fucking field skills and fucking dressed too many deer and fucking. And I ate everything that I killed. But you eat everything, but
including the people.
Yeah, I didn't eat people.
Just kidding. I thought I'd throw that in there. And see if you if you rolled with it.
I'd have to be real hungry. I'd have to be real hungry.
I imagine people probably
and I'd have to be really pissed off, Hannibal Lecter style. You know,
yeah, I get it.
I'm gonna eat you and shit you down the drain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strengthen myself and you. You island boys know what I'm talking about. The Maori and the fucking Micronesians and the Samoans, they know. They eat a motherfucker. The Mexicans too. The Mexicans eat a motherfucker in a heartbeat.
Oh, I'll eat a motherfucker.
Yeah, man. The Aztecs were cannibals, ritual cannibals. Cut your heart out and then eat you.
Ben says...
Ain't let that protein go to waste.
Well, yeah. Juries routinely convict people on weak evidence because everyone hates child molesters. Yeah, but, like, not in this case, though. Like, but I kind of feel like...
Not in Michael Jackson's case.
Yeah, like, he got away with it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It'd have to be rock solid.
And... Like I said, okay, so they did search his house, and they did find... Like I said, they didn't find hardcore kitty prawn, but... They did find, like, some kind of weird books that they seized that had, like, naked pictures of boys in there.
That's because that's all he could get.
Right. So, yeah, maybe he was smart enough to know it's like, I can't have a whole stash of, like, of this stuff in here.
What's he going to do? He's going to go buy it himself? And they're going to say, yeah, I sold that shit to Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it's like everybody recognizes him.
Everybody knows who you are, yeah.
Right.
Or you're going to hire somebody. Go get some prawn for me.
Yeah.
No, then he's got dirt on you.
Right.
So he can't, no.
That's what I'm saying. But at least he had that much.
What would he need prawns for? He's got the kids. And they're like model quality kids.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe he didn't like even feel the need. He's like, well, I got these couple of little like books, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got the real thing, so he's not worried about it.
God, what I got is better.
Yeah. Maybe he thought that.
Of course.
So.
Of course.
And like I said, they did find a photograph in there. Because I saw like the list of all the stuff that they had seized from the house. And they did find a photograph in there of a naked kid that they're pretty sure was one of the ones that that hung out with him all the time. So, you know. So there's that. That seems a little definitive, I'm just going to say. So, yeah. So after that happened, like I said, he was acquitted of all charges. The jury just didn't think that there was enough evidence. And so he got away with it. And like I said, he didn't want to go back to Neverland because he thought that the police and FBI being in there had, messed it all up. So he never went back to it, even though, as far as I know, he still owned it, like, at his death, because I think it was part of his estate, after he died. But, it kind of did still affect his career, though. Like I said, he tried to, before he died, he was kind of trying to jumpstart his career. He was still super famous and still super rich, obviously, but he'd, gone down a little bit because of all the allegations. So he was trying to kind of do a comeback type of thing when he died. But because of all the stuff, even though he'd gotten acquitted, he couldn't really find, like, any sponsors or anything like that, because really companies really didn't want to be associated with him just because, it's not a great look. So there's that. So then, in June of 2009, he died. Now, the drug that killed him was, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's called propofol. It's kind of like, Camp Guy said something about it earlier. It's not even just a sedative. They use it for, like, anesthesia for surgery. So it's hardcore shit.
Knocks you out.
And I believe he had gotten to the point, at least according to physicians or, like, staff and things like that, where he had worked up such a tolerance to it that he was using, like, a lot of it, like, to sleep because of his bad insomnia. Pretty much. So apparently, like I said, he had done, like, the day before he died, he was doing a rehearsal for the, comeback tour type of thing they were doing. And everybody said he seemed normal, like he seemed like kind of healthy. He kind of joked about having laryngitis or something, but they said he seemed completely fine. And so then, like, he went home and he couldn't sleep. And so he got, his doctor at the time, who he actually got through. I think this doctor, they hooked him up with the doctor through the like, production company or something like that handled his shows in the UK. Mm-hmm. And they got this doctor, I guess. I'm not really sure, like, how that all worked out. But this doctor, like, he's at the house, and apparently Michael Jackson is, like, he can't sleep, and he's trying to get the dude to give him the shit that he wants. He called it milk. I think in medical parlance, it's called milk of amnesia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Milk of amnesia.
Right. So that's that's what he called it as well.
Makes you forget?
No, well, it just, like, knocks you the fuck out. Like I said, it's used for, it's like an anesthetic, right, like, for surgery. Like, they use it to put people out for surgery. Yeah. It's not just like a regular sedative, you know what I mean? So, it's kind of a pretty hardcore one.
So he must have been under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
To be knocking himself out like that.
Yeah.
He's worried about shit.
Right.
Worried about his career. He's worried about those boys.
Yeah.
I bet you. He's worried about getting caught.
I mean, maybe so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the doctor, Conrad Murray was his name. So he, according to him, he's like, he gave him, like, some sedatives and shit, but, and was kind of staying with him, but it wasn't working. Like, he was still just laying there awake, and he was just kept asking him, give me the milk, you know what I mean, which is the propofol. And so finally, Dr. Murray is just kind of like, okay, fine. Like, he didn't want to give it to him at first, apparently. But then he's just like, he kept asking for it. So he's just like, okay, fine. So he injected him with it. It's like, it's injectable. He gave him 25 milligrams. And then, he finally fell asleep. So then Conrad Murray said that he left to, like, go to the bathroom or something like that. And then when he came back, Michael Jackson was not breathing. Now, interestingly, this is kind of why he got in trouble for this shit. He said that he tried to revive him, like doing CPR. But he's a doctor, right? To do CPR, you're supposed to have them on a hard surface, like a floor. But he left him up on the bed. And he was doing a thing where he, like, put his hand under him like that and was trying to... And that's, like, not the way you're supposed to do it. You know what I mean?
I saw the guy, though. He looked like a quack to me.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what... Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that he's a doctor anymore, because I think they took his license.
A lot of doctors are nothing more than a glorified drug dealer. That's a lot of them.
Well, this one was, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it wasn't working. So then he calls to the staff, because obviously, this is a massive the place that he lives. He's got like a staff, you know what I mean? So basically, like, he calls 911 finally. But the thing that they find out later, like, okay, so he didn't call 911 at first. They asked him why. And he said, oh, well, the house doesn't have a landline, and I don't know what the house's address is, so I didn't call them. But they did find out that they looked at his cell phone records, and he had called a bunch of other people, like, after finding Michael Jackson, but he didn't tell the cops that he had called all these other people. You know what I mean? So he didn't even end up calling 911, like a security guard did. And this was like a couple hours later, like an hour and a half later, like after Michael Jackson was laying there, like, not breathing. So the paramedics get there at like 12:30 in the afternoon. And when they get there, he's not breathing. He doesn't have a pulse. They did CPR on him for 42 minutes, like, while they were at the house. Now, the attorney for Conrad Murray, because he did get in trouble for this shit, said that he was still breathing when they took him out of the house, but the paramedics said that he wasn't. They said when they got there, he was in full cardiac arrest, and they didn't see any change, like, en route to the hospital. They took him to the hospital, and the medical team there, like, tried to resuscitate him for about an hour, but it didn't work. So they finally pronounced him dead at 2:26 p.m. Now, so then they take him, they did an autopsy, and basically they said, no evidence of trauma or foul play, but the Los Angeles County coroner classified the death as a homicide because of the amount of drugs that were in his system. So basically they said he was otherwise healthy. They said he didn't really have any health problems or anything like that, and that it wasn't anything to do with his heart. It was, or anything like that. It was the drugs. So the LAPD and the DEA both looked into the case and looked into all the doctors, and then they decided to turn it over to the prosecutors. Now, the Jackson family believed that he had been murdered, which I don't think the doctor intended to kill him, obviously, but that's kind of what ended up happening. So what ended up happening was that Conrad Murray was arrested and charged with, I believe the charge was involuntary manslaughter, and he was found guilty. And he got a 4-year sentence, although I think he only served 2 or 3 years of it because of good behavior. However, he was stripped of his medical license, and rightly so, probably. And then that's what kind of happened. They said that when they went through his house, they found a bunch of bottles of that propofol stuff. Like, some of them were empty, and like some of them, and like a lot of doctors wouldn't even give it to you because it's like really strong. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just take that shit. It's kind of like
he was,
but he was getting it somewhere. So they actually, I think they
was he doing his own injections?
I think he was finding doctors to do it, because I think during the investigation, like, this was the only guy that got in trouble, but I think they also investigated like 9 other doctors that they were trying to like determine if they had given him some of it. So it's not illegal, but well,
it's a controlled substance,
right?
But, and you're not supposed to probably that's probably not the proper application.
It's not really. It's not really.
It's probably overkill for that.
Big time.
So that's weird. It's funny. He couldn't just secure it on his own and just inject it on his own. He had to have been.
Yeah.
He's not gonna have a doctor every fucking night come in and do that to him. He's injecting his own.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's
not that hard to
getting somebody to like supply
time.
Shit for him.
Yeah. He's got a black market or a gray market supplier. A doctor is supplying him.
Yeah.
Clandestine. Like, here's 3 or 4 bottles. Be careful. That kind of shit.
Yeah, apparently, like, I don't know if this was
Doctor to the Stars, one of those guys.
Yeah, I don't know if this was the first time that he ever took it, like, and he's like, oh, that's some good shit. Yeah. But they said while he was in Germany, he actually went to an anesthesiologist and had him give that stuff to him, like, to help him sleep.
Yeah.
And then, so he said what the anesthesiologist would do, he would give him that at night, like, to get him sleep, and then he would give him, like, some other shit in the morning, like, to wake him back up.
Yeah, probably meth.
Like, during the tour.
Methamphetamine.
Like, and that was, like, in the 90s.
Yeah, methamphetamine probably.
Probably, yeah, something like that. So, yeah, he was on all kind of, like, a cocktail of different stuff.
Yeah, for y'all that don't know, methamphetamine's been around for a long, long time. in the 30s in Europe, there was no restrictions on it. You could get it anywhere.
Yeah.
And they thought it was just a miracle drug. If you felt bad, inject some methamphetamine, you'd be fine. Pick you right up. Fucking Mustache Man of the Germans of the Bet Cross was fucking. Oh, they basically did the same thing to him, which it's a sign of being under a lot of fucking stress, especially after he lost the Battle of Kursk during Operation Barbarossa when he fucking stupidly attacked Russia and got his ass handed to him. They knocked him out with morphine at night and they woke him up with methamphetamine.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Living that kind of life.
Yeah, that's what he did.
I mean, that's gonna.
It
can't last.
Most people think he had third stage syphilis in remission.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, he exhibited a lot of personality traits of a person that kind of halfway beat syphilis and put it into remission. You end up being real mentally rigid. Once you make up your mind on something, you can't reverse your decisions. You become kind of lizard-like. That kind of fits the descriptions of his behavior. You know, he thought he could win the war just through his will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah, he was getting like super delusional.
Yeah. All of his decisions were correct. He could never reverse any of his decisions. That kind of shit. That's syphilis.
Or just being an asshole, or both.
His doctor was named Dr. Morell, who was a famous syphilis doctor before the war.
Right.
So his doctor was a syphilis doctor. He had syphilis, and it was a doctor that was giving him all Vitamoltin B, which was fucking meth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allison said, if you need propofol just to sleep, you need to cut down on the Red Bull.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that's like some hardcore shit. That's like
He's under a lot of stress for probably what's happening at this time. He's nearing 50. Well, he's 50 when he died. He knows that his time is short. You can't play the Michael Jackson game beyond 50. Okay?
True.
Nature's going to catch up with you. You're not going to look like a skinny little fucking 14-year-old Peter Pan. It's not possible, even with plastic surgery. It's not possible.
They speculated too that he might have had anorexia.
Oh yeah,
because he was underweight. Although when he died, they said he was a normal weight.
Yeah.
But he did have issues like with being really skinny. He wanted to look like a dancer's body, but like I said, he wanted to look like Peter Pan probably.
Yeah, and wanted to do it naturally probably. You could do it with certain hormones, but
they just said he didn't eat much.
Yeah, that's the worst way to do it.
Yeah.
And what's weird is that he's on all these drugs and he's trying to stay thin like that, and he's dancing, and then he's got to go on tour. Where's his physical training routine? Where is he doing weight? Is he doing weights? Is he just dancing? That's it? That's what I'm asking you.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. It's not possible.
I didn't really look into his whole fitness routine.
There had to have been something like a fitness routine. If not, he'd have gotten fat. And your metabolism is slowing down by 50.
Yeah.
The weight's just going to come. That's why maybe said he went anorexic. But still, you could starve an old person. They don't lose a lot of weight. The cellular function, the mitochondria kind of slowed down. You know what I mean? Your metabolism's crawling.
But about propofol, Victor says we use it a lot to sedate people on ventilators. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's used for that. It's not usually used for a sleep aid, as far as I am aware. But that's what he was using it for.
One of his quack doctors gave it to him.
Ended up killing him.
He liked it.
Ended up killing him.
So
he got too much of it, and
he
just went to sleep. And then DVD Dragon said his physical training was deadlifting 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. And then Ben said that maybe he was having money problems toward the end. Well, okay, as far as I know, yeah, like he still had money, like he wasn't broke or nothing like that.
He would never be poor.
No. They said when he died, this is at least according to Wikipedia, that, let's see, the net worth in 2007, which was 2 years before he died, was $236.6 million and $567.6 million in assets. That included Neverland Ranch, which he still owned.
He owned it outright.
And he also had a 50% share of Sony ATV Music Publishing catalog.
Okay, so he wasn't going anywhere.
But he also had a lot of debts.
Right.
$331 million in debts.
That catalog would have gotten less and less valuable later on as the internet fucking...
Yeah.
So, no, but if he owned Neverland, the upkeep on that was probably a lot.
Oh, I imagine
taxes.
it was, yeah.
So you can't keep that ranch without an income, or he'd burn through that $200 million that he had. You know, pretty quick, I think. He'd probably pay about $1 million a year just an upkeep on Neverland.
Oh, easily.
And then, you know, his spending habits and shit. If he didn't have an income, he'd have to get rid of Neverland, and I don't think he wanted to do that.
Yeah, even
but
though
he'd never be poor.
He moved away from it like after the trial.
Okay.
But he still owned it like when he died.
It might have been an excuse. Maybe he knew he was eventually going to have to get rid of that.
Maybe.
Because maybe he really couldn't afford it. I heard that it was mostly turned off all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the electric bill.
Well, this
all
is
those
saying
fucking trains and shit.
Right. This is what it's saying, because I was kind of interested what his estate was like when he died. It says the value of the Sony ATV Music Publishing is estimated at this point to be $1.5 billion. So Jackson's share would be $750 million, which would have got him an annual income of $80 million. So I guess that someone bought it out for like $750 million. Okay. But most of his stuff went to charities, and he has like the Michael Jackson Family Trust.
So he could have retired.
Yeah.
And been all right.
Tammy said, didn't he own the rights to the Beatles music? Yeah, he did.
So he could have been all right then and just retired in Neverland.
Yeah, that was kind of where a lot of his money came from, was all of the music and stuff that he owned.
What's funny, I'd be on YouTube and I'd watch these guys do these explorations of these abandoned mansions all over the world. There's beautiful mansions, and some of the shit are weird mansions, crazy looking mansions. The mansion game is quite strange. The only people that are impressed with mansions are people that don't own mansions. A guy who owns mansions, all his friends have mansions, so they don't give a shit. And they don't go from one mansion to another. They don't go visit another dude in his mansion. You know what I mean? So you buy the mansion, you're kind of fucked. And then you got this big thing, and they end up only living in a little tiny part of it, like it would be an apartment.
Yeah. What are you gonna do with all that shit?
They don't ever use the rest of it. They have it shut down. It's like in mothball. It'll have bowling alleys, bowling lanes, and fucking swimming pools and shit, and fucking garages. And a lot of the guys that have them don't even have really like families. They might have a wife, but the kids are gone. So and then if he loses the mansion sits on the market and never sells again, because dudes that buy mansions don't want used mansions. They want their own brand new McMansion built in a location
to their specifications.
So there are a fucking abandoned mansions every fucking where.
Maybe we should go squat in one.
Yeah. Yeah,
find one with the power still on.
Those guys will go into a mansion. Goes, yeah, this mansion's been vacant for 13 years, and the motherfucker's furnished.
Yeah,
it's furnished. I mean,
tell me where that is. I'm gonna go live in there.
You can tell that people have like rummaged through it.
Right.
There's nothing really valuable in it anymore, But and you can't heat or cool it, I guess.
Yeah.
But some of them looked pretty good, because they weren't obviously broken into.
Right.
But you could get into them. I guess a window would be open.
Yeah.
And guys would open and close the windows. They were getting out. Sometimes they're vandalized, but a lot of times they're not. They look okay. You could live in it. So it's quite shocking. You look at it, you go like, man, nobody's been in that thing for 13 years. That kind of stuff.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
DVD Dragon said The Proper People is a great urban.
Yeah,
channel.
That's one of the channels I've seen.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that we've seen.
Yeah.
Because I like a lot of the urban exploration, like all the dead malls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Who's that one guy, Sal, that does?
Sal,
I like his stuff too.
Yeah, Dan Bell's the best one for the.
Well, yeah,
dead
Dan
malls.
Bell's the best one.
Yeah.
For dead malls, but he doesn't put up as many dead malls as he used to.
He used to.
He does a lot of live streams though.
Yeah.
Like driving around Baltimore. Yeah, Allison said you can't properly heat a small house, never mind a mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine like with the fucking upkeep. It just seems like such a waste. Like I said, they look cool, but I wouldn't want to take care of it.
They say you end up living in a little small part of it anyway.
Well, yeah, but like I said, what are you gonna do? Like you can't. I'm gonna roller skate through the whole house. Like what the fuck?
And you don't have guests,
right?
Because all your friends have their own mansions. And what are you gonna do? Invite the hoi polloi, the rabble, The people you met at the bar, you invite them into your mansion? No.
Well, and then you got to have a staff because you got to have like people to clean it and like maintain the shit. Because I'm not gonna fucking do it. That's for sure.
To run one 24/7 and use the whole thing, you got to have a whole. It's like running a business.
Yeah, and it's just like that. Just seems like way too much trouble.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel like the whole point, the whole fun of having a lot of money is being able to buy your way out of all that pain in the ass shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would you want to like have even more of that pain in the ass shit?
You gotta have cleaning people come in and clean.
Shit, man, I would probably go live in hotels.
Yeah.
So I'd never have
to do that.
I'd never have to clean anything. That would be awesome.
They got people that do that.
Just you know what I mean? I think that was, like I would just try to buy my way out of every like stupid chore that I don't want to do and all that kind of stuff.
Howard Hughes owned all kinds of mansions and never went to them. He lived in a hotel, top of the sands or the dunes.
Yeah.
In Las Vegas, he rented it. I don't think
that's probably the route.
I think he
would
rented
go.
it. Yeah.
Because then you could just go all over the world and just like get a nice hotel room and just stay there for as long as you wanted to stay, and then be like, "Fuck it, it's
maybe
not
he
mine."
bought it. I think he bought that whole building. It's been a long time since I've
just
read about it.
have some clothes in a suitcase and just kind of go wherever you want to go. I think that'd be
Yeah.
pretty awesome, and you wouldn't have to clean shit. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think he bought that hotel.
Yeah, I
and
think
just
he
lived
did
in
too.
it and had a staff. And
I think he did too.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we're gonna wrap it up. I'm surprised that we actually got through most of this.
Yeah.
Information because it was a lot. But it's actually I thought the show was gonna be like 5 hours long, but it's not. It's 3 hours and 45 minutes. So that's not too bad. But yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this discussion about the Michael Jackson controversy. And if you want to do a poll, I'll put a poll up and see if like whoever thinks he's guilty. It seemed like most people did think he was guilty, but I did when I was looking at the other videos, like it seemed like a lot of people were just like, "Leave Michael alone. He didn't do it." You know what I mean? And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I think he probably did do that shit. But yeah. Victor said, "So glad I made it today. Great show." Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I kind of had a lot of fun with this one, even though it's kind of a fucked up topic. But yeah, so thanks everybody for dropping by. Thank you for all your super chats. That's very much appreciated. And we'll see you guys again on Friday night for the Sidetrack show. So that'll be fun. Hopefully you guys can all make that. And I guess that's it. We'll see you Friday. Good night.